Here to the November 19th Eastport South Manor Board of Education meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, ladies and gents. So let's get this started. First, I would like, can I have a motion to accept the October 29th Board of Education meeting minutes?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We are going to stray from the agenda tonight, and we're going to move public participation up to before our reports and announcement, and also before our two presentations, because we have a student group here tonight. So we have the Sharkettes, and they would like to address the board. It's a club at the junior senior high school. And if you guys would like to come right up to the front, the floor is yours. Dr. Christie, can you just get their mics on, please?
Good evening.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening, Board of Ed. I am Liliana Cavalieri. I'm in 8th grade, and this is my second year on Sharkettes, and I'm here to present on why I think that Sharkettes should become a sport instead of a club. So I'm just going to list off some schools in Suffolk County that have dance teams. So I have Comac High School. They are 28-time national champions. Hauppauge High School, Smithtown High School East and West, they are 25-time national champions. Pat Med High School, Huntington High School, Bellport High School, Center Reach High School, Sachem North and East High School, and Longwood. So what are the benefits of Sharkettes becoming a sport instead of a club? Recognition. We would feel equal with other athletic teams and be acknowledged for our physical and competitive training and not just known as performers or entertainers. We would feel respected and seen, and we'd be included in school-based activities. Access to funding and resources. We would receive budget support and for uniforms, competitions, and resources that we would need, and we would be able to host fundraisers for our team as well. Facility access, such as the new dance room that's being built, and guaranteed field time slots for some practices. Competitive opportunities, we would become eligible to compete in regional level competitions as well as national level competitions under organizations such as NDA and UDA. And it would allow us to earn scholarships, trophies, and rankings that are recognized by the school district and state athlete associations. School spirit and team culture. Students tend to feel more team and school pride when their activity is considered equal to other athletic teams. And performances at school-based events would boost school spirit and public engagement. College and scholarship opportunities. Recognized athletic programs are easier to list on college applications rather than clubs and are also recognized better by colleges. Students can qualify for athletic letters, honors, and sometimes scholarships from athletic participation. And colleges tend to accept dancers who have competitive team experience. Accountability and motivation. As a sport, there are academic requirements such as grades, attendance, behavior, etc. Athletes learn time management, independence, responsibility, and leadership. A sports team structure often boosts motivation and performance, and athletes tend to train harder when their scores, season, and rankings count. And lastly, I have exclusivity and prestige. As a sport, there will be limited spots on the team and only certain people will be selected. This highlights the honor of being selected, similar to varsity athletes in other sports. Now I have a couple reasons why dance is a sport. Physical effort, training and discipline, competition, rules and scoring for competitive dance, teamwork, athleticism, mental toughness, performance goals, and recognition by sports organizations. Thank you. Again, my name is Liliana Cavalieri. I'm in 8th grade, and thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Isabella Kozel. I'm the Vice President of the 7th grade student body. I'm here on behalf of the Sharkettes tonight. As of right now, we are labeled as a club. I'm here to ask if we could be recognized as an official school sport. We are aware that dance may not be a sport in everyone's perspective, but let me explain to you how it is a sport to us. Dance in general is a highly athletic sport, even if it may not seem like it. Dance, no matter what style or form, contains great discipline, flexibility, endurance, teamwork, and much more. As a Sharkette, we practice several hours in school and out, staying determined as we work just as hard to condition our bodies, just like one would do in any other sport, like football, basketball, and even soccer. Being recognized as a sport would provide us with support and structure that all ESM sports currently have, like a guaranteed space to practice, considering you guys are building a dance studio, also more performances, and in some cases, dance competitions, and much more that would only benefit us. So saying, with your support, we can take the next step in our dance journey. We are ready to have recognition as a trained school athlete. Thank you.
Okay. Isabella and Liliana, correct? Okay, well, first of all, you did a great job presenting. I do want you to know that, not only what you wrote, but also how you presented it. And you said you're in 8th grade?
Yes.
And what grade are you in?
7th.
7th. Well, even more fantastic to hear that. You had a very nice presence about you. Separate from that, I want to apologize. I jumped on my phone while you were speaking, but I wanted to refer to something. And I hope you didn't think I was ignoring you, but as a superintendent of schools, I didn't want to say something wrong. I wanted to make sure that I had it right for you. So one of the things that often happens is schools, when we try to get programs off the ground, is we will pilot what they are. And for the past few years, we've had an advisor to run the Sharkettes and bring dance into the school. We also, a few years back, and I heard you mention a piece about what I'm about to say, thought that we wanted, as a school district, whether it be myself as my administrative team or the Board of Education, we're always looking to see what kind of programs can we provide our students, what's exciting to them, what would make them want to come to school every single day, in addition to good lessons in a classroom, but also after school. And one of the things we talk about all the time are clubs and athletic activities, in addition to the arts. There is in New York State an association, and this is what it stands for. This is what I was looking up. New York State Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and the last part of it is dance. So within our department, our phys ed department, the D in NICEFORD stands for dance. And we thought between our theater program as well as our athletic program, that one of the things that we are missing on campus is having a dance studio. And it kind of can become a chicken or egg conversation. Which do you have to have first? So in this case, we wanted to, when there was some interest from students, they came forward, very similar to this, like you're doing now, and said, hey, we want to start a dance team. So we started it off as a club. And we saw the interest that was in it, and we thought it could help us not only in the phys ed classes, which dance is a part of, but also the theater program. And when we passed a bond a few years ago, which was getting money from the community to add to the facilities and change and refurbish some of the facilities of the school, one of the areas we looked to do was add a dance studio. In fact, one of the architects at firms that is working on is H2M. They're here tonight to talk about the studio. So Ms. Garrity is one of the people who's working very hard to design what the dance studio will look like. Tom Sullivan is right behind you on this side. Is the person is our manager of our construction to make sure that what's being built is what we want it to be. So you have the design and construction person right behind you. So with regard to a growth of going from a club to a team, that's a natural evolution. And the fact that we have a dance studio going in, it makes sense that, and you're actually coming up at a good time because we're right prior to our budget season. So a lot of the things that go on in a school, as much as we try to figure out ways to get things done with the monies we have, we do have to budget for that. And you mentioned the budget. Hey, if we're a team, this could be some other avenues for funding some of the activities that we may want to do. So I hope I'm making sense to you. So it can kind of become the chicken or egg thing. You know, do you build a dance studio and then you have a team, or do you have a team and then, oh, we have to build a dance studio? Well, we went with the club, built a dance studio, an actual progression. In my mind, and I'm sure of the mind of many of the people that would be on the board, but I don't want to speak for them. They're all individuals. Is that it's probably a perfect time to have the conversation you're having with us. So what I'm going to ask you to do is share whatever information you have with Mr. Hayes. He's our athletic director. Do you know where his office is? Right where the gymnasium is. Email that information to him. I'll let him know that you spoke to us tonight. I'll ask him to take a look at the presentation because we record these. And we'll start to I'm going to ask him to do some research as well. And you gave him a good jumping off point with the list of schools that are involved in it. Okay?
Okay.
Do you have any other questions for myself or anybody, or want to say anything else? Okay. Thank you very much. You did a great job.
Yes, thank you very much. We also moved all of our students to the beginning because this meeting could go very long and might be perceived as very boring, or you guys have more important things like homework to do. So we, as a board, will not be upset if you guys snuck out the side door, and we're going to continue on with our meeting. So let's go back to Mr. Stymel, Superintendent of Schools.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Goldhammer. First up, we're speaking about construction. We're going to have a presentation of an update from Dana and Tom. H2M and Park East.
You skipped the student board member.
Oh, I'm sorry. We skipped Peyton.
Yes.
She's like, oh,
You can stay. You can stay there. Stay there. Stay there.
You guys.
I'm sorry. We're sorry, Peyton.
Peyton has an update for all the building activities for us.
Hello, my name is Peyton Freedy, and I am a ex officio student board member, and I will just be discussing updates around the district for all of the different schools. So yeah. So starting off with the K-2 schools at Tuttle, the students have been focusing on leadership and kindness in their recent activities. The school recently held its annual Tuttle Election Day, an event where students got to vote for their favorite in-school extracurricular activities and learned about the importance of using their voice. The students also celebrated Kindness Week with school-wide challenges, themed days, and a growing kindness chain that visually showcased the impact of positive actions around the school. Moving to South Street also had an active few weeks with a successful district leadership day where students served as ambassadors for visiting guests. The kindergarten students participated in a hands-on fall learning experience at Fink's Farm, which connected nature to in-class instruction. The school also hosted its 5th annual Veterans Breakfast, which honored local veterans and highlighted students' appreciation and gratitude for everything they have done for our country. Now moving to our 3 through 6 schools with Dayton Avenue. Dayton hosted its Peaceful School Bus Breakfast, where student leaders explained how the program enhances community and promotes safety. 5th graders also attended a performance of Shrek at the West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center, and 4th graders enjoyed a visit from author Jen Colonita. Additionally, Dayton also welcomed visiting schools to observe their Leader in Me program, which student leaders guided tours and were given excellent feedback. Then lastly, with the junior-senior high school, this weekend, the junior high will be performing Newsies Junior in the junior-senior high school auditorium. And tomorrow is the junior-senior high school parent-teacher conferences. And in honor of that, all students at the junior-senior high school tomorrow will have early dismissal and a half day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peyton. Of course, just please turn your microphone on.
Peyton, did you get the information about the webinar for the student things?
Oh, yeah, I did. I saw the email. Yeah.
December 4th, okay.
Thank you.
Just want to be sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. Dana, Tom? Tell us the good news.
We're done. There we go.
All right.
Liar.
That'd be bad news.
Not even good
All
at it.
construction is done. That's it.
Long ways to go, Tom.
If I could get the presentation up. Nope. How's the board doing tonight? Everyone good? I'll vamp
Peachy.
for a little bit, you know?
Peachy.
Just peachy? Good. All right, so we have our Board of Education EPC and capital project update for November. So we'll just go through a little bit of the EPC and then just switch over to the capital projects, phase 1 and 2. So for the EPC, we received all the closeout documents, so we're ready to close out that project and be totally completed with that. We have all the solar panels working and everything, so nice closeout of that project.
Are they working right now?
Yes.
Even at night?
No, not at night.
Oh, okay.
We should put some lights over there, get some more. The moon, we should give moon energy. That would be good.
Yes.
So for the capital project update for the budgets, we'll pass it over to Mr. Lauby.
You're on my page already. Mr. Sir Marco had my attention. All right, so here's our phase 1 and phase 2 budgets. Actually, excuse me, I missed the phase 2 number at the top. But this encapsulates everything bid out so far with the exception of one part for our pavement of the parking lot here at the high school. But at this point, after phase 2 and phase 1's been all bid out, with the exception of that one part, we're about $4.35 million under budget, at the green number. But we still have one more project to go that we'll be bidding out. That's the pavement. So that's a good place to be, 4.8% under budget at this point. It's better than being over budget, that's for sure. So,
But construction of the refurbishment of some of this has not started yet.
correct. Well, this is, yeah, we bid out phase 2, the alteration part. Bids came in fairly strong where we have a surplus in the budget as of right now.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Soon be over budget, don't worry. That's short-lived.
So we'll go to just a quick schedule update. We just have with last phase 1 project, the athletic field, that's all completed now. With the athletic addition and alterations, we have 15% of the actual addition completed, and then 75% of the alterations completed. Then with the phase 2 elementary school renovations, we're just closing out some of those. We have a couple small items for punch list to complete, and then we are collecting some of the closeout documents. So with the athletic fields, as I said, we closed out all the punch list and closeout documents. We've actually fully closed the project out, so I will take that off for next meeting. Then for the elementary school phase 2 renovations, all the contractors began submitting closeout documents and addressing the remaining punch list items. And SJS completed the installation of the new windows and sliding glass doors at Eastport Elementary. For Dayton Avenue, again, same thing with closeout documents and punch list items, completing those. And they began installing the new UV piping covers throughout the classrooms just to spruce those up a little bit. This is just a picture of the new sliding glass doors that are over in the Eastport cafeteria. Beautiful. For South Street Phase 2, they completed installing all the new teachers' desks and student cubbies in the UBK classrooms and rooms 10 through 21, and then began submitting the reviewing closeout documents and completing punch list items. For Tuttle Phase 2, they completed the installation of the new teacher's desk, storage and bookcases in the art room, UBK room, and gymnasium. And they completed the ductwork installation and balancing of the HVAC system throughout the building. And they are continuing to work on punch list and closeout items. The next few slides I have are just references just to the addition that's going on and the alterations, just in case you have any questions. For the fitness addition and alterations, they completed wall framing, sheetrock, ceramic tile, and ceiling grid in the dance room, girls' locker room, corridor, changing room, electrical closet, and in the existing building. And they completed the electrical, mechanical, and plumbing roughing for all those rooms as well. And they completed the underpinning for the existing building for the new addition to be installed with the basement. And they completed 75% of the rebar for the new addition foundation and began pouring footings and new foundation walls for that whole basement and addition. So this is actually, doesn't look like a dance room now, but this is actually the dance room that the Sharkettes were discussing earlier. So this, obviously you can see the sheetrock, some of the ceiling grid, all the new ductwork that's in there, and they cleaned up for us too. We have the flooring actually is on site in that room, ready to be installed as well once the painting is complete. So this is just another example of just the girls' locker room. We have the walls. We did a couple coats of paint just to get it nice and clean over there. We'll finish with another last coat of paint once all the finishes are in. And you can see that's kind of where the lockers are going and the coach's office in the back over there with some ceiling grid and the ductwork in there. So this is just a drone shot of the new addition. As you can see, there's a few walls that are up right now on the east side of the building, also the staircase wall that's up there. So that's going to be the staircase down into the basement. And you could also see the rebar and the footings that are there for the northwest wall, the north and west walls that are going there. And they actually poured the southwest walls and corner today. So by Monday, they're looking to have the rest of the concrete foundation poured.
I'm going to jump in here real quick, just because we're talking about concrete. I know it's getting colder out, and they have cure times, everything else. We've had to pay up charges for cold weather concrete and different mixtures and everything else. Is this going to be finished before that period hits?
The foundation walls will be, but and the slab of the basement. I'm assuming I'm thinking right now the actual first floor, the ground floor concrete will probably be closer to the winter, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And the masonry I've already discussed with SJS about making sure we have some sort of tenting or some sort of temporary wall enclosure to keep the heat in there while we can do all the masonry that we need to do.
All right, but when they talk about that first floor, I don't want it like, oh, it's too cold, and then they get 3 weeks where they can't do anything, and then we miss our date, and then it's our fault, and it's too cold. So let's have something ready to go that we can approve, and we know the price for it, so they can't wait for it to get cold to then slip the project out accidentally.
Mm-hmm.
But are we on time or are they not on time?
As of right
Is this
now,
where they should be?
as of right now, this is where they should be according to their revised schedule, which has us being completed at the end of April.
And these are the, go ahead, Mr. San Marco.
Long story short is, I personally, as well as you know, what the requirements are in order to make this happen in cold weather. So we're not going to sit here and allow the contractor to say, we have to push back because of the weather. I know what can be done. I know what chemicals can be used for curing compounds. I do it all day, every day. So just want to make sure we don't get into a situation where basically we're going to be lied to.
Understood. Yep, and we'll make the contractor aware of that.
Mr. Goldhammer, if I may. Tom, correct me if I'm wrong. In the contract, there's provisions for cold weather continuation. So there's a couple things they can do.
Mm-hmm. So for this schedule, unlike the laser project, with the delays that were delayed are the fault of the contractor. We did not, there was no delay or anything that caused this to make them do concrete during the winter or masonry during the winter. So they are fully responsible for doing whatever temporary measures they need to do to make sure that they can continue the schedule throughout their scheduled times and the schedule that they actually gave us.
Right, it's not really a big deal. It's just, I'm not going to sit here and allow them to tell me it can't be done.
Understood.
Yeah. Any other?
Is that cost on us?
No.
We have to go to the other? No.
No.
Well, yeah, and I think what Tim said and what we're saying is that the proposed schedule showed this concrete work being done in these months. Mm-hmm. So now don't set a schedule where the work is being done in December and January and then come back to us and say, we can't do it. You should have told us that when you made the schedule, right? So they have to continue the work and keep on the schedule.
Exactly.
It's been cold in January for a few years now, so.
every once in a while.
How do you know
There was that one year, it
how do you
wasn't
know
bad,
we
though.
put anything in the concrete and they don't just pour regular concrete? How do you know? What guarantee do you have?
We have a third-party testing company.
Okay.
With J.C. Broderick. They have a testing company that comes. I have them on site pretty much every day right now, just inspecting rebar, inspecting any grout that they're filling, and doing the concrete as well, taking samples of it. We get the tickets from the concrete trucks. We have a record of all of that. I have a big stack of all the concrete tickets and the inspection reports together, so.
Okay.
Yep. It's
Thank
not
you.
like they could just sneak it in while we're not looking.
Mhm.
And on top of that, the cure time would be, they would sit there and it wouldn't work.
Be pudding.
Yeah, for a very long time.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Mhm.
On slide 5, the schedule slide that I love so much with the color coding.
Yes.
It looks like the alterations that were supposed to be done October 29th are behind schedule, right? It's yellow.
Correct.
And it looks like something that was supposed to start in December might have just 1% started. My question is this work running in parallel so there are no dependencies or knock-on effects to the other lines? Or is this going to push something else behind schedule because of dependencies?
So these are all independent of each other. So the addition does affect the alterations, but we can use most of the alterations area, while the addition is still continuing. But we expected all of that for like certain areas with the bathrooms that are in the alterations area. They are affected by the addition because the plumbing runs through the addition. With the other projects like the athletic fields, that's already completed. The interior renovations for the high school is completely independent of the alterations and additions project for the high school, so that won't be affected by any delays from the additions. And it's completely different contractors except the plumber, who's on track with everything right now.
Right, so we discussed this last Friday. So let's say with the, could you pull up that picture of the girls' locker room?
Yep.
So let's say the ceiling goes in, floors go in, walls are painted, lockers are in, everything in the restrooms goes in. We're not opening up this locker room yet because the pipes run through the addition, so it won't be ready to open. It will look like it's ready to open, but it won't be ready until the addition is on.
They can tie that together.
Right.
But it won't significantly delay, it wouldn't delay this at all then?
That's
because this
right,
can work
correct.
separately.
It's
Okay.
the same contractor, but they're working, this is already behind, but they have a plan to get it done by December.
So we have mid-December is when
Yeah.
we're looking to turn over the dance room. So we have to do all the finishes in there. But for right now, obviously, there's no plumbing or anything in the dance room. So we can turn that over comfortably to the district without having any issues. It's just the rest of the girls' locker room area, the changing room, stuff
Right,
like that.
so when this section, the alterations versus the addition is done, our thoughts were we can start using for the phys ed classes, maybe the Sharkettes, the dance studio, and then the hallway that has this in it and leads out to the addition, we'll keep that shut
Gotcha.
until the addition is done.
Okay. Thank you.
No
This
problem.
is underground, no? Or is this ground level?
No, this is
This is in the building.
right
Building,
now.
okay.
Yeah, that
This-
So
part
the
is.
boys' locker room and the weight room and all that is what's going to go
The addition,
above
right.
the addition, right,
Yeah.
on this first
Yeah.
floor?
This is actually part of the existing fitness room, like weight room
Yeah.
area, and I think part of the old wrestling room as well.
Yep.
There's an emergency exit.
Yeah, there's doors that go out and just, outside and into the hallway.
Thank you.
No problem. So we'll just continue with the November project update for the interior renovations. So that's what I was discussing before. That's independent of the alterations and addition. We received reviewed all the bids for the general mechanical and plumbing scopes of work, and we rebid the electrical scope of work, which I believe you have a recommendation to award today. And we performed a site walkthrough with the general contractor just to review scope and schedule of work. I've been discussing with Sal once we have a full kickoff meeting with all of the contractors, get input from them, just making sure that the schedule that the phasing plan that we originally put out works for everything. There's no There's no surprises with lead times for furniture or anything like that. We'll put it together a full schedule, and I'll go through that with the school, with all of the high school, just to make sure that everything works out. And then we'll get started in the library is what we're going to be starting first, definitely, and then a few different classrooms. We just need to decide on that schedule.
Right, so I know we've discussed this before, so that everybody knows the biggest change that will happen once the school year starts is the high school library will be closed December. And so they're working on some other ideas of how they get the books, how books are stored is already in process, and what books we're keeping around, how we do research, et cetera, is all being worked out
When is that closing?
December.
December, so it'll be
Yeah, 'cause
before Christmas break?
Tom,
That's the plan, yes,
And then
correct.
for how long after?
till the end of the year.
Oh, yeah, the whole second
Because there's
semester?
a lot happening in there, right.
So we're planning to have
It's
it
gonna be
back.
gutted, the whole
But you
thing.
have a plan
Yeah.
for,
I mean, it's not ideal that it's closed, we all recognize that, but the goal will be to make sure September 1, we're ready to roll. That's, we're hoping,
It's the goal.
hoping.
So continuing with just the work projected for phase 2, pretty much just completing all of the remaining items. We have a couple doors that came in that we need to be replaced. So we have a few of those in Eastport Elementary and Dayton, and that'll finish all the items that are over there. And then just completing closeout and punch list items at both of those schools. For South Street and Tuttle, we just have one more item over at South Street to complete, and just one more punch list item over at Tuttle, and then we can close those both out once we have all the remaining closeouts. For the high school fitness addition and alterations, completing all the sheetrock, drop ceilings, painting, and flooring in the alteration room areas, which includes the dance room, the girls' locker room, and everything. Complete the installation of the light fixtures, electrical outlets, HVAC registers, plumbing fixtures throughout the alteration rooms, and then complete the new addition footings and foundation walls and begin setting structural steel, which we should be seeing in the next few weeks. For the interior renovations, we'll award the electrical bid and hold our first project kickoff meeting, begin receiving submittals from all contractors, and begin demolition in the library. And then I'll fill this out more once we have a full schedule of what other rooms we're doing. I'll inform everybody of that. And that's the end of the capital project and EPC update. Are there any questions from the board?
I would just ask, we have later on the agenda the approval of the electric bid for the alteration. If there's any questions about that, we have our team here to answer any of those questions.
It's rebid, right? It was
Yes.
rebid, what we're going to approve tonight.
Mhm.
So my only question was, why did we rebid it? Did we add to it? Was the scope creep? Was the price no good? What happened?
We didn't receive any interest the first time we bid it. We received no bids. There was one contractor interested, but he didn't deliver it on time, unfortunately. So we had to put it back out on the street. We made phone calls to get more interest in the project, which turned out we received 3 bids the second time around.
Why do you think we received no bids the first time?
There was like about 10 contractors that had picked up the first time, so we were actually surprised to not receive interest. Just from knowledge of some of the contractors that we're used to working with, I think they already had full schedules, unfortunately, and just couldn't squeeze this huge, massive project into their workload.
And was there one subcontractor they were having trouble getting pricing from or something?
The fire alarm vendor, maybe?
Yeah, I think everyone was reaching out to the same fire alarm vendor, and they were just a little delayed in getting pricing, but now that we have the full pricing for it.
Yeah, because I'm pulling up the contract here. I mean, it's almost $2 million.
Yes.
They're so busy that we had no bids for a project we awarded for $2 million. All right, let this be a lesson to all of us parents. We want our children to be electricians.
There you go.
Oh, my Lord.
I will
I'm
say,
pushing my
I don't think they
youngest. I'm like,
picked up
"Be an
the first time around. I don't
Okay.
recall Roland's being on the list for the first initial. They might have been one of the phone calls that our teams made. I know Francesco had reached out. I don't know to exactly who. I don't think they picked up the first time. So,
The electrician we liked for the outside.
Yeah, I guess they're busy. Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the board? All right, moving on to
All right,
BOCES
thank you.
electrical
Have a great
program
night.
for our
Enjoy the
students.
holiday,
There you
thank
go.
you.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Telling you. Thanks,
Good night.
guys. Safe home.
All right, next I'm going to ask Dr. Christie to come. Do you want to stay where you are?
Oh, no, we
No,
want to
can't
see his
see
happy
him
face.
when
Wanna
he's
see
over
him?
there.
All
We need
right,
to
just
see
checking.
him.
Dr. Christie, come on down. We're going to hear about goal setting that has been taking place in the district. As many of you know, we've been working with the Covey Institute, specifically a Leader in Me, but also over the past couple of years, and we shared the books with you, the 4 disciplines of execution on writing goals and achieving goals. We want to give you an update tonight on where we are district-wide. We'll thread in a little bit about our district-wide goals from board goals, and I'll share a little bit of where we want to go. I won't have a lot on that, but I'll chat a little bit with that. But we'll see what our students are doing, our teachers are working on in the classroom, our principals are working on, and our district-level administrators are working on. So we can't give it all to you. There's so much, and it's so complex, but we're going to give you some touch points with regard to what's happening in the spot. So, Dr. Christie, let's see. Here we go.
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Steinmel. So, yeah, I look forward to sharing an update on our implementation of a systemic goal setting using the 4 disciplines of execution for educators. And this is just, this is really kind of a 3-year look back in terms of when we first began this discussion with our K-12 administrators. It started with a book talk where we just cracked it open and started to kind of go through it and see if this was a structure that aligned with the work that we wanted to do. And of course, since it's really in tandem and a partner with our Leader in Me work, it certainly made a lot of sense. It happened to coincide with a lot of the Board of Education goal setting that you were doing as well. And we did share the book with each one of you, and just kind of as a resource as you continue to identify and establish your board goals. We also had the good fortune of one of the co-authors of 4DX is our staff developer, Dr. Lynn Kaczynski. So we leveraged that already existing partnership, and Dr. Kaczynski began working also side by side as she supported our buildings with us as administrators in kind of unpacking the 4 disciplines of execution for educators. And she initially got on some Zoom meetings with us and just walked us through the basic principles, and then had an in-person meeting in which she attended a district leader meeting and spent about an hour with us, going again a little bit deeper. And then simultaneously, I was digging into the book and the work as well. And I was like the mortar in the seams. It's a metaphor that we use for our Leader in Me implementation. So when Dr. Kaczynski wasn't here, I was able to help support and lift some of the work with our administrators. And then most recently, we facilitated a leadership retreat in August of this year. It was an entire day where all of us got together, and we were really able to immerse ourselves in operationalizing what we had been working to learn over the last 2 academic years. So, and we use this, this is Stephen M.R. Covey, who's the oldest son of Dr. Stephen Covey, who's a prominent author in his own right, has 2 books, The Speed of Trust and Trust and Inspire. And we use this kind of mindset to guide our work in our implementation of 4DX. Stephen M.R. Covey talks about how important it is to establish trust in the rollout of any initiative, and nothing moves faster than trust. Once you have established relationships and trust, you can move in warp speed. So I thought it was kind of fitting, in order to move fast, you must go slow. And we really did, we have taken that approach to our implementation of goal setting district-wide. In your folder, there are two kind of graphic organizers that I provided for you, and one were some practitioner definitions of the 4 disciplines of execution, and the other is the data-wise process. And why I included the data-wise process is later you'll see that like these two systems kind of work in tandem with one another. And a lot of our directors are using the data-wise process as part of their own wildly important goals. So the 4 disciplines are a framework for goal setting. And the first is a wildly important goal. So what does that mean? I can promise you from, my day-to-day work in the Office of Curriculum, I can count hundreds of goals that I'm overseeing, responsible for, or have. It is almost infinite to a certain extent. With that said, not all of them can be wildly important. So you have to decide like what goal is so important that the other goals are subordinate to it. And then you could leverage that wildly important goal to accomplish many of your other secondary, tertiary goals. The research will suggest that you should probably identify 1, no more than 2, and certainly 3 is the limit in terms of using the 4DX structure to goal set, because you're really dedicating your time to see this goal because it's that important. So what you do is then you identify, and it's framed in a time-bound manner. A wildly important goal should be able to be completed by, I'll use our school year, begin in September of 25 and end in June of 26, and have some quantitative measure. So for example, in a few slides, I'll show you mine, which is increase achievement on standardized assessments by 5% K-12. After you identify what's wildly important, you establish lead measures. That's discipline 2. Those are your verbs. Those are your actions. And there are 2 attributes to a lead measure. 1, it could be influenceable. And secondly, it's something that's tangible, that you know that you can have some control over. So you take those 2 principles and you test them. And once you are satisfied with a lead measure that it can be influenced and you have control over it, then you look to operationalize it. And that leads to discipline 3, which is a compelling scoreboard. And the idea behind a compelling scoreboard is also referred to as the game on switch. If you're watching a pickup game of basketball from a distance, you might not be that engaged in it. You're kind of watching people pass and shoot and pass and shoot. However, as soon as you place a scoreboard with lights and you can start to track what team is winning and what team is losing, and it's called the game on switch. And now you have a compelling reason to follow it. And the principle in the compelling scoreboard is that you should know within 5 seconds whether you're moving towards your wildly important goal or not. So you'll see it in the presentation as well. We have some examples of our compelling scoreboards. And lastly, it's an accountability partner, which is really key to this structure of goal setting. For my accountability partner happens to be the superintendent of schools. And each one of our administrators, K-12, has identified an accountability partner that they work with as they go through their wildly important goals that they've identified for themselves. And lastly, with this slide, we could all set goals. What I think makes this so simple but yet unique is that it places an emphasis on execution. Like what goals fall off in the execution of them. And this framework really is laser focused on executing goals and attaining them. Okay. So just for structural purposes, this is your own Board of Education goals that you have adopted for 25-26 that include domains, academic excellence, culture, health and safety, finance, and operations. The goal setting aligned with Leader and Me has 3 buckets: academics, leadership, and culture. That's the same framework that the 4 disciplines of execution for educators utilizes as well. So throughout this presentation, you'll see this structure of academics, leadership, and culture. We've done some work around looking at the organizational goals of the Board of Education, the 4 disciplines, and I'll say the 3 goal buckets that Leader and Me and the 4 disciplines of execution for educators uses, and identify like some alignment. So the first 2 are easy, they're directly correlated, and that's the academic and culture buckets. The first 2 goals of the Board of Education are academic and culture, and what I would submit to you is that your health and safety and your finance and operation goals truly integrate like all 3 of the Leader and Me buckets of academics, culture, and leadership. When the Board of Education is thinking through those things, you need those 3 facets in order to successfully accomplish your health and safety and your financial and operation goals.
Yeah, so one of the things I think we should certainly think about for the Board of Education when we are working on goals in the future, we should, my suggestion would be that we focus in on, and we have 2 of them already, academics, culture, but also the leadership part of it. And this way, from the students all the way up through the Board of Education, our goals are under the same buckets or under the same umbrella. I didn't like the microphone. Thanks.
No, that's fine. Hey, so when we look at this work, I refer to it as from the bottom up and the top down. So 4+ years ago, when we began our partnership with Leader and Me, we had a wildly important goal without utilizing the 4DX structure. We wanted to give our students leadership voice. That's why we began this partnership in the first place. And we wanted them to be able to identify their academic goals, identify personal goals, take leadership roles within the building, and truly, as the 8th habit is, find your voice. And with that said, our students began using the principles of 4DX before we formally kind of operationalized them and adopted them. You see it here from the My Leadership portfolio. The first picture is a student graphing their progress towards their wildly important goal. The photo in the middle is from a classroom where the class is tracking their wildly important goal, and then they're measuring their progress weekly, and they're focused on discipline 2 in terms of what they can influence. And then lastly, you see a picture of an entire grade level establishing a goal for the grade level. And throughout the year, as they make progress, they will check it off as a grade level. So that's why I kind of use this metaphor from the bottom up and the top down, because we're seeing it from the bottom up and also from the top down. It's from the student, it's from the classroom, it's at the grade level, and it's used now by all of our administrators. So I'll take you through, again, I have a shared drive that has all of these in a folder for English, math, science, social studies, Dayton, Eastport, South Street, Tuttle, everybody. So I just wanted to highlight I think I have 3 or 4 examples of how we have utilized this process to establish our wildly important goals. So this is my wildly important goal for the Office of Curriculum and Instruction, and it's increasing increasing achievement by 5% in standardized assessment from September of 25 to June of 26 will increase passing and/or mastery rates by 5% on standardized measures of student assessment K-12. That's my X to Y by when. Here, you'll see my 2 lead measures. One is facilitating the monthly district-wide data-wise meetings to support goal progress, K-12. And then subsequently, I maintain one-on-one meetings with every one of those administrators that participates in the district-wide data-wise meeting. And it's another opportunity for us to review their progress towards their own wildly important goal. And I meet with Mr. Stymel monthly, and I give him updates on my wildly important goal. Here I'm tracking it, so you see my October and November, I'll say, qualitative notes on the work that I've done with those groups. We had an opportunity. We met from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. today. So I made sure I clipped this slide again after that 3 o'clock meeting so it would be updated. And I could say this, and I shared it with each one of them. I used the metaphor of the rearview mirror, going back to that initial slide of the overview. If you were on a long country road that you could drive straight for hundreds of miles, and you step on the gas to get your car going, and you look out the rearview mirror, you're only going to see a short distance behind you. And now that we've been at this for a little while and are really knee-deep in this work, I'd say we're 100+ miles in, and we could look clearly in the rearview mirror and celebrate so much that we've done. It's really rewarding, and there's a lot of buy-in amongst all of the stakeholders. So it's super exciting just to be a part of. As I noted, my accountability partner is Mr. Stymel. We have monthly curriculum meetings, and when do I get to celebrate? When I have opportunities to meet with all of you and share our progress. This wildly important goal comes out of the junior senior high school. This is their academic goal, and it's Go for the Gold. I know last spring we talked about receiving the silver distinction from the AP College Board. So Mr. Stymel, sent a congratulatory email, and then the next email was, all right, what do we need to do to be gold? And that came 5 seconds after the celebratory email. We were right back to work. You did. It was 5 minutes. So Mr. Alamo and his team identified in 2 years, they want to go from 56% participation in AP tests for the class of 2027 to 60, is it 60% there? I thought it was 65.
80. Let's just call it 80.
Let's get 80. It's essentially 20 students between now and
Wildly
the 2027.
Look how we've narrowed it down. It's down to 20 students.
We've narrowed it down to, we know we have to, the actual N is 20 students to make up that percentage. So
But that's not fair because the class size is decreasing.
yeah, we looked at that too. So you'll see there's a compelling scoreboard that I'll share on the last slide. But these are some of the lead measures. These are the things, these are the verbs. These are the things we can influence and act on. We're in the infancy stages of the course catalog, but we're looking at any number of new AP offerings that might have a broad appeal to a group of students that we might not have captured before. So we'll examine that. Our meetings with counselors and students and encouraging them to challenge themselves to, the most rigorous courses that they can take in their high school experience. To the Board of Education's commitment last year in the annual budget to support every student in at least one AP exam. That's really goes a long way in helping us go for the gold. This is just kind of a mind map of how this sequences out across the 4 disciplines.
But we are looking at the fact whether the child, we believe, can handle that AP,
Absolutely.
not just shoving them in for numbers.
No, this is very intentional. This is, again, and this is also part of ours. We grow our Leader and Me work right now into 7th and 8th grade and long-term into the high school, for students to be able to find their voice. We're also going to be influenced certainly by, what we see over the next 1 to 3 years as the New York State Education Department, from my last presentation, gives us concrete direction on pathways and, new graduation measures, how a credit is going to be identified. So yes, this is, if it's not for every student, it won't be for every student. We want to have voice and choice. However, we want to make sure that this choice is available to every student that wants to walk through that door. So this is their compelling scoreboard for participation on AP exams, and it's right outside of the main office. So we know right now that our current 10th graders, we already have 101 that have participated in a AP exam. Of our current 11th graders, we have 148. So we're going to continue to track that and continue to monitor it and encourage kids to do their personal best when it comes to identifying their academic goals.
So it's cumulative. Once you take one AP test.
Yeah, it's cumulative.
You
So
add-
so
I gotcha.
within that 101, we might have 50 kids that have taken 3.
That's a tough one.
Yep,
Because you do have multiples.
yep.
Right, so that's
Yeah.
not showing them.
Yeah, that's not showing the multiples.
No,
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
you take 1 or 5, you only get credit for 1.
For,
No, this is just.
no, you
so-
get your credit,
Yeah,
but what the,
so,
No, I understand that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
it's what
for
College
the
Board
s-
is looking
No,
for.
for the scoreboard.
Correct.
Yeah.
If I'm a student and this year I'm taking 3 exams, I'm
Right.
considered
You're on
as
there once.
a 1.
yeah, so.
Right. But
just-
that's the College Board
I get you.
Yeah.
parameters.
So there are three prongs that they use to identify these levels. So the one we're focused on right now is participation. That means a student takes or at least one AP exam. We already meet the goal distinction for the other 2 facets. So this is the 3rd prong that we're really placing our wildly important kind of influence on to try and move us from silver to gold distinction.
Part of this, right.
Yep.
No, Mr. Goldheimer brought up a good point. One of the things that the Board of Education did in the last budget to be a part of this was to say, 1 AP exam is paid for by the district.
Right.
And that's all part of this goal.
Yes.
And that's printed out? That's pretty big.
That's in the hallway.
Yeah, it's in the hallway. Yeah, so at the end of each one of these, you'll see like the compelling scoreboard, which, shows that it's visible and within 5 seconds whether or not you're moving towards your goal or not. So this one is, this is from our math department. This is one of Mr. Grover's wildly important goals, and that's also improving student performance. And he chose grades 3, grade 5, algebra, and geometry. And he's using the data-wise process as part of his wildly important goal. And he's taking these 4 teams through steps 3 through 8 in the data-wise process, which is the second graphic organizer in your folder. So he, similar to myself, he has monthly data-wise meetings with each team, and he's continuously meeting with each team to take next steps based on the data-wise process. Now, here's his compelling scoreboard. And if you take a look at it, it has, I just want to make sure I have it. Down the first column, you have creating the data overview, examining student data, evaluating instruction, developing a plan, assess progress, and then act and assess. This is the cyclical process of data-wise. So he's tracking throughout the year where he is with each step, with each either grade 3, grade 5, or in this, in this slide, algebra or geometry, where he is in that process. And this is real time. I probably clipped this 3 or 4 days ago. And Here's just a picture. I was happening to be in Dayton Avenue School. This was a data-wise meeting with the 5th grade that Mr. Grover was facilitating as part of his wildly important goal as I was walking past. So I said, that'd be good for a presentation. Here's a culture goal for the junior, senior high school. And this is to improve students' overall attendance. Although I'm only illustrating the junior, senior high school, this is a goal that all 5 of our schools have identified 2 years ago. Again, Mr. Stymel shared with us at a district leader meeting some chronic attendance data that New York State Education Department had released, and we recognized that we had work to do in order to improve the daily attendance for our students. We could have the best pedagogy, we could have the best instructors, which I believe we do, but if we don't have kids in seats, none of it's going to make a difference. So this is a wildly important goal. These are, a number of the influenceable measures in which we utilize. Here's the compelling scoreboard. And then you see here, so this is nice to see at the junior, senior high school. We see that in 24-25, we had a 92% average attendance rate, and now we're tracking it by month. And we're like September, we're at 94.49%, and then for October, we were like 94.7%. So we're tracking this monthly. That's also right outside the main office of the junior, senior high school. So everybody knows we're already 2% ahead of where we were to end the 24-25 school year. And this is the compelling scoreboard at Dayton Avenue. Again, they're tracking their attendance daily as well.
Dayton knows how to make a scoreboard. That's insane.
That had to get in there.
There's certain needs that you want to have in your building to help you with those kind of things.
Wow.
That's
Some are very talented.
Yeah. And I hope you can sense my enthusiasm for this work because it's second to none. This is going to have impact. I guarantee it.
Thank you, Dr. Christie. Does the board have any questions?
And the kids know, like, the wig, wildly important, they know the terms.
Yeah, they know it. They know it. Well, some of you as families, particularly at the elementary level, may have attended leadership days. That's why I did that bottom up, then top down.
Right.
They were using it and kind of identifying their wildly important goals before we as administrators started to implement it for ourselves. In a few weeks, we're going to move to student-led conferences at the elementary level where they're going to have their leadership binder, and they're going to be the ones that have the primary voice in that meeting between family, educator, and student. Yes.
So, Mrs. Dina, you bring up a very good point of that. So one of the main results we wanted this, like when we think of leaders, like, oh, I'm a leader in the building, I'm a leader in the classroom. We also want the students to be leaders of their education and academic leaders. So, instead of just the teacher saying, oh, you should do better on your times tables, you're not doing that well on them. And what we're looking at doing, what we have happening now is the students see their results. They're working with the teacher to say, what is my goal to improve my results? What is my plan to improve them? And it goes in the leadership journal, which you saw in the photos there. And the students should be able to sit down, open up their leadership journal, show their success, show where they need some improvement. What is the plan in place for their improvement? That's better than us saying, hey, you should go home and study your times tables tonight. The students are saying, this is my plan to improve my understandings of the timetable, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to allot a certain amount of time to flashcards, to whatever it might be in their plan. That's one of the key things of this, that there's an ownership of what they can control in their education.
And how do you improve their attendance? How are we getting, I just saw on Facebook yesterday how these people took their kids to Pennsylvania, all over the place, and they weren't in school. So how do we get to these parents that it's wonderful you do these things with your kids, but we need your kids in school?
Well, I think program. When you have program that encourages kids to come and want to be in school. That's a motivator.
Hard
So,
to say no to a vacation over.
yeah, so we can, so I'd say this, like, and I'll use the framework of the 7 habits of highly effective people. We have our circle of influence and our circle of concern. And we work tirelessly to increase our circle of influence. So, what can we control and be responsible for? Ultimately, yes, if a family chooses to go on a vacation, that becomes my circle of concern. But we can put, whether it be assemblies, field trips, athletics, engaging academics, everything that we try to construct within the school day and in our extracurricular program is we want to invite kids to not want to miss school. Like my class today is doing a gallery walk and presenting the work that we just did in this unit of study. I don't want to miss that gallery walk. So I think, we have to continue to do things like that, to make this the most inviting place they can, to the point where, you know what, Mom and Dad, we got to have that vacation over like one of the regularly scheduled weeks off.
Right. And what about the test taking? How do we get parents to opt in? We're doing a little bit better than we were, but we're still not where we should be.
Yeah, so to that end, again, we have come a long way. When we look at the 2013, 2014, I'll say,
well, that was a
baseline, we, in grade 3 last year, we hit about, without having the data right in front of me, about 84%. So if we can capture that 84% and hold it, and then that trend line continues, and some of the opt-out movement that existed a decade ago continues to move kind of out of the system, and we hold on, but also make it inviting. We have to promote the reasons why it's important for our students to take these assessments. And that'll be, that'll also be continued work of
Yeah,
the
so
Office of
it
Curriculum.
isn't easy, those two questions you asked. Sometimes it is outside our influence, but if we educate, we have signs up, the students know it's important, we put things in newsletters, we talk about it at meetings like this, we report about attendance and what it is. It's as basic as when the state is saying it's important, the chronic absenteeism is a problem nationwide, statewide, and our numbers, need to be better here. Hopefully when the boys and girls are coming in the building, they're seeing those signs that are up on the bulletin boards, the parents are seeing them when they're coming into the building, the different events when they're invited in, and maybe it makes somebody think twice about, hey, I'm not pulling my children out of school for this, but, again, those parents will say, it's my prerogative, I'm going to do it. It's outside of our control, but we're going to continue to do it. With regard to the testing, we've made improvements. We've tried, again, through educating, through calls, different things that we're trying to do to encourage parents, the importance of us being able to know where we need to support the students by these assessments that we're giving from the state. Well, we're actually right now, unfortunately, and Mr. Frank would share this with you, we have alternately assessed students. We're over the percentage point of what we should be. It's a low number. I don't know where the number came from. It may be arbitrary, it may be from something, I don't know, where the state says 1%. If we had more students taking the state assessments, we wouldn't be on a targeted school list for the number of students that are being alternately assessed. Because if we had more students taking, it would be, that percentage of alternately assessed would go down. So it's putting us on lists that we shouldn't be on. We're spending time as administrators going to meetings with the state where it's, if what the students were taking, it's not, listen, we go to meetings all the time. We can be given ideas and new things to do, but we think we have other things that we want to work on. We think we know our students really well, and time will be better spent on the goals that we have versus this 1%. So there you have a WIG. We want to improve attendance. If that WIG gets improved, that's what Dr. Christie was talking about. One of the goals is to get off that list. So here's the WIG that we have on attendance. If we improve attendance, we also had the WIG of taking the assessments and more students are here and they're taking the assessments, it gets us off that list, which may be a wig for Mr. Franquiz, but not for the district as a whole, but it will take care of that one. So we're working at it every time, and, you know, we're chipping away. 1% better, 5% better, 7% better, now when the needle's moving. That's our goal. Anybody else have any questions about our goals? It's very exciting. There's a lot to keep track of, but 1 to 3 goals, if we put, you know, we all have three buckets, have 3 goals. A lot of things are happening in ESM as a result of that. Mr. Davis?
What grades have we started with the students being involved in the parent-teacher conference?
K-6.
K-6, it's already started, right? Because
Yeah,
my kids have went through it
I'll say
already.
it's been invitational for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And this year, we really, we made the shift that for this to be truly a student-led conference.
I love it. I think it's great. I love the change. Big difference.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. Yeah.
It's very cool to watch them, kind of lead the conversation and talk about their goals and what they achieved. And, I thought it was great.
Thank you, Dr. Christie.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're moving over to public comments. I don't think we have anyone left signed up, so we're going to move on to our board committee reports. Before we get to the policy committee, which has multiple policies to report on, is there any other, I don't think there's any other committee reports to bring to light. Okay, so let's move over to our policy committee. Mr. Fabian?
Yeah, so we have several policies up for second reading tonight. Most of them were very, very minor changes and updates. A couple of them were, these are required policies. We looked at them back a couple weeks ago at our policy committee meeting. But starting off with our records regulation policy, that was just really some just updating and an annual review, not major changes. Our attendance policy, I know there's there may have been some questions about the attendance policy, so if you want to run through that one.
Yeah, for sure. I have a list of questions and a few talking points on that. I'm going to let anyone else, if they have any questions before I go. Mr. Davis, Mr. San Marco, you guys tune in when we're ready. Okay, so I'll continue. So the policy we passed in 2020, one of the things in the policy is that 24-hour notice for the parent to tell the school that a child is not in the school, okay? I do know that further on, it says that if the student returns to school, they need to provide a note within 3 days for it to be an excused absence. I think some people sometimes get a little bit held up about that 24-hour notice. Now, I do remember this. At one point, there were phone calls going out that said, hey, your kid wasn't in school today. I'm pretty sure it was this district, right? I remember answering them, and those phone calls then kind of just went away. It was like, hit 1 if you know your child's not here. We don't do that anymore.
We're not sending calls, you're getting messages through the Infinite Campus parent app.
Yeah.
You should be getting notifications through the app that then I think the last we checked, we were at, if it wasn't 100%, it was 99.9% of our families were on it.
Right. I don't know if...
One little problem with that. If your student is marked late for class, they're counted as absent.
They're counted as absent?
I've received a message stating that my daughter was absent from class, and she was disciplined, I should say, and come to find out that she was actually in the class, just marked absent. So that's definitely not a foolproof plan.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a mistake or an error on the reporter's end. That's not the program, the notification, so I don't know if that was a sub or something going on.
But that's breaking it down class by class at this point. So you know if a child is cutting class or that's not just general attendance at school.
Well, it's not even just that.
At the secondary level, yes. At the elementary, it's one-time attendance a day.
To add to that, I've gotten those same notices, and then obviously I can't text my kids anymore because the governor said no. But then when they come home, I go, hey, where were you in 4th period? They go, oh, we had a sub. I'm like, what do you mean you had a sub? You had a sub, so you don't get counted as class anymore? So that's another thing, too. It's like, it seems to be just the general consensus. If you have a sub, the attendance date is no good. I'm just saying it from the
yeah, I
parent,
mean-
the parent point of view. I've heard that
Right.
multiple times. Oh, we had a sub. You had a sub. Okay.
Well,
So what?
this-
Mark that we're here.
Again, I could speak
No,
as a
the sub
parent
is
as
supposed
well.
to take
yeah.
10.
But
Yeah.
this is not something new, and I think this being marked absent class by class is also making the community more lackadaisical about the attendance issues that we have.
Right, because it's a constant drip of, oh, we
Right.
weren't here, we
You
missed
know,
that.
My child was in that class, whatever the case
Did they,
may be.
and just
So-
for my own knowledge, did they straighten that one out in that situation where she
No,
was
it
there?
still happens.
No, I mean,
I think,
yeah.
yeah, I think with the point that they're trying to make, because I've had this experience too, I have one on the books right now because there was an assembly. It was a grade level assembly and my child was marked absent in that
Yes.
particular
There you go.
period. And I guess what I think Mr. San Marco is saying is it happens so frequently that parents
white
don't
noise
even
now.
bother reaching out to the teacher to correct it anymore.
Right.
It's just like,
Right.
oh, they marked them absent again. Kids said they were there. So I definitely have experienced that same thing with the high school.
Yeah, I mean.
I don't think it's the same
Yeah,
with
we didn't
We're
have
not
to say
asking
this
for an
when my
answer,
kids
Mr.
were in-
Fabian.
no,
Just-
yeah, I mean,
just feedback.
You're gonna get a ton of feedback
no,
tonight.
that's fine, but again, just, as
No,
as a
that's
parent
something we could
myself,
certainly bring to
and
the
with
attention
Two kids go through the
of-
high school, it's happened to me before, but I never really was worried about it. My son comes to school, he maybe misses 2 or 3 days a year. And, if he's absent one day because it was a mistake that he was in a different location, I ask him to follow up with the teacher and he does, and it's usually resolved. So, it hasn't been an ongoing issue for me with 6, 7 years of kids in the high school either.
Yeah, I understand, but it's definitely something I've dealt with.
But
Um,
I think
Go ahead, Mr.
just as
Simo.
a statement, going back to one of the things that Mr. Fabian said, it's an input issue. So the system is only working off of the input information. So certainly I'll add it to, I have a meeting tomorrow with all the administrators. I'll add this on as an item to emphasize the importance of taking accurate and daily attendance period by period. I know our building principals always remind the teachers or the subs to make sure that happens, but I'll put that on the agenda as well.
Yeah, and usually in the event of an assembly or something, that should be marked globally for the whole grade
Should be the
level.
whole grade.
That should be a whole grade level marked on the back end. Maybe it wasn't done timely in some situations, but the truth is, for whatever reason, if a student's not in the class, it really is the teacher's job to mark them absent, not necessarily investigate where they are. And then at that point, it has to get cleared up. So if the student let's say they're in with a guidance counselor that period, the guidance counselor will mark it in as they were in guidance. But the teacher just knows they're not there that period. That's all that they're marking.
Yeah, I just, the data being pushed to the parents.
Right.
Trust is, Dr. Christie said it, trust is huge with parents, right? When you start seeing data that doesn't look accurate, at some point you start to ignore it, like the zeros and the grading books. Like you look at your kid's average, oh my God, they got a 57. You come home, you scream and yell and go, what's wrong with you? You go, I don't know, I did all those things. Oh, those are just placeholders. So be very careful. It's a very powerful tool, but it's also a very powerful tool in a bad direction, because at some point you're like, yeah, I'll look at that at the end of the year. I'll look at it at the end of the quarter, or I'm not even gonna look at this thing day to day because the data doesn't seem to be accurate. And I think that gets us into a problem, especially with the attendance policy, because if a child is not excused in a timely manner for having an excused absence or going to a doctor's appointment or something else, what happens is it all piles up until the end of the quarter. Then the child tries to go and make up tests that happen here, or assignments or homeworks, and then they're told, well, you can't go ahead and do those because you have all these unexcused absences. And they're like, what do you mean? I went to the doctor this day, went to the doctor that way. The child goes home, goes to mom and dad, goes, what's wrong with you? You didn't excuse me for these days. You know I was here. And now there's a very rigid system put in place where they're not getting to make up that work, right? So we need to do something here so that, parents have a lot to do, right? They're juggling working, they're juggling their regular lives and everything else, getting their kids back and forth and just the pressures of every day. And then you got kids whose grades are kind of being affected by that negatively when really they have excused absences. And sometimes it's kind of on the parents who didn't excuse them. I don't know how to capture that. Obviously, I think it's important that if a kid doesn't show up for school for 24 hours or whatever it is, we let the parents know, because, I don't know, maybe the kid ran away. I mean, we've had that happen before, right? So, that's a very good way to close the loop. But honestly, closing it through Parent Square, whatever we're doing now, I don't even look at it, because half the time I think the data in there is erroneous anyway. I hate to say that as the board president, but getting that phone call, at least you're forced to pick it up because it's coming from the school and you're listening. Now, I know years back, you would get phone calls, oh, your kid's missing from this period. And you'd be like, what the heck does that mean? So once again, it's all, the process has to, good data has to go in for good data to come out. Once bad data starts coming out, no one pays any attention to it. And then what happens is the school hangs their hat on these unexcused absences when really half of them should have been excused or more, and it was kind of on the parent for not doing it. But the parents shouldn't, you understand the balancing act there, right? So I don't know how we write that into the policy, or is it more of a procedural problem?
So can I comment on that?
Go ahead.
So you make good points, right? I do agree with you. Bad data in is bad data out, and then it becomes unreliable and people don't pay mind to it. That, to me, though, is separate.
That was so much, I'm sorry, I just got to cut you off real quick. That was so much faster than what he just said.
Thank you.
That's just what I was saying too.
However, that is a separate problem from something wrong with the policy, right? I think the policy as it's written is sound. Parents are asked to provide 24 hours notice if their kids are absent. As a matter of us being the district, the building knows that that child is accounted for, they're just at home. You know, God forbid a kid wandered off, like you said, and the parent thinks they're in school and we think they're home. We can't just assume. So we send a notice saying your child was absent today. So at least the parent knows that the child is not accounted for, so that if there is a problem at home, they can deal with it. Then the policy says that upon returning to school, we need a note that excuses the absence. So that tells us the child was sick, the child had a doctor's appointment, the child had a valid reason for being absent because we do have to report excused and unexcused absences, and there are consequences for each. So when we talk about absenteeism as a percent, right? Chronic absenteeism is more than 10% absent. That, whether it's excused or unexcused, they both count towards chronic absenteeism. So from that perspective, an excused absence is irrelevant, and we still have to report that data to the state, and we still have to notify the parents when the child is chronically absent, because there can be consequences for that, like not getting credit for a class, or a problem at home, or some other reason that may need to be reported. So we have to track that, and we have to let them know we're tracking that and where the kid's at. So we do that. It also gives them, up to 3 days upon return for them to excuse the absence, so that the child can make up work if it is an excused absence. Now, teachers also have rules in their class through syllabus and other means where they say, if you're absent, you have so many days to make up the work. If the child has an unexcused absence and doesn't make up the work within that requisite period and then comes to the teacher 3 weeks later, well, that's not fair to the teacher. It's not fair to all the other kids that did the work. It affects the reliability of an assessment, because now the information's out there, right? And the kids got preview of it or whatever. So I don't think it's unreasonable to have a time period.
I don't either.
To notify the school that a child's been absent. So I think the policy as it's written is a sound policy, and we did look at policies in surrounding districts, and they have similar criteria. Let us know and then send us a note when they return, kind of thing. I think the input of the data or the output of the data or the way in which we notify may be something we want to look at as a district, just as for the reasons that you just described.
The policy is
But I
sound.
think, but I don't think that changes what the policy says. Because it's
So-
not a policy problem.
Let me just jump off there for a second. So I would agree that it's not a policy problem, but I think the problem exists when something regarding attendance, okay, is shared with multiple parents, and it is said to those said parents that, well, this is the Board of Education's policy, right? And when that is said, it's more of a procedural issue, because if the system to alert the parents and everything, I believe, and this is my opinion, was more accurate, and also the parents knew what the time periods are, right, on the upfront, I think they would be a bit more conscientious to say, oh, you know what, my son had a doctor's appointment, let me make sure I call the school and call them out. Like, these kind of boundaries, 3 days after for a note, 24 hours to tell the school. I don't know how that gets to the parents so that they know that, so it doesn't become a stack-up issue.
Well, we definitely notify them through the student handbook. It's in there.
Right.
No, I
The
agree.
policy does say the parents are supposed to be notified, and I think we were looking into how that mechanism works.
Yeah, the handbook's available. It's on.
But
I'm
the
not sure if it
parents
was
are
sent out.
notified. I mean, we do, parents know, and I think we,
It starts in kindergarten.
Well, I think
Yeah.
this goes to, we got a letter from a parent that complained that the teacher blamed it on the Board of Education.
Okay, so
but,
I have some information I can share with you about that.
I mean,
So,
but at the end of the day, the board policy is the board policy. And if they cited, the board policy says you have to notify within this period of time and you miss the window, that's not inaccurate. Like, that's true. And we have to own this as a board. It's our policy. So I don't see a problem with that. I do agree on the data collection piece, and I think we can do a better job of that. And I think, if Mr. Steinmel's already taken the action to look at that and get to the bottom of it. But the policy is the policy, and it's a good policy, and we own it. That's how I feel about it.
My question is, when did calling the attendance office to say your child was going to be out for whatever reason it may be, turn into you have to send an email?
You don't have to, it's just an option. You can call or send an email.
Okay, I was told I had to when I called at one point, and to take that one step further, I think it's safe to say that, I'll use a good number, 95% of the community has iPhones and iPads. If you have an iPhone and an iPad, they're linked together. You carry your iPad with you all day, you leave it at home. If your kid's out, what's to stop your kid from calling in saying that I'm absent today as the parent?
Oh, that's a parent
just-
problem.
that's a whole nother.
That's a parent problem.
I'm not disagreeing with you,
Yeah.
but if you're not home because you're at work, you don't know.
I mean, personally, I would rather email than have to call. That's just me. I don't like to talk to people. I'd rather email them. That's just my personal preference, but you can call or email. I've done both, and I've never had a problem.
does our policy,
And actually, they respond to me on email, so I get the email back to my personal email saying, thank you for the email. Or, by the way, Mrs. Costanza, that's an unexcused absence, but have fun. I mean,
Right, so-
I've had that happen too, and that's fine.
If I could just chat about a couple of things you spoke about, Ms. Costanza. One of the things that the state requires all school districts to do is come up with policies for attendance. So with that being said, I would tell you that our attendance policy is probably 90% identical to every school district that's around us. Most school districts are very similar to what we have. I'm not going to say there's no variation, but they're very, very similar to each other. One of the things that I'm hearing from you is that from building to building, what's being said on how information is being said and come out needs to be consistent. So I'll work with Mr. Fabian to make sure that the information that's coming out of each of the buildings is consistent about how that communication is going back and forth. Also, as I said prior, I'll meet with the administrators and also talk to them, not only about the policies between the building and the procedures in the building being consistent with regard to attendance, when the contacts are going out, et cetera. The importance of the data going in being very important. That seems to be a big challenge to this. And you did hit on a very good point. One of the challenges that comes up is parents' feelings about what they think should be excused and unexcused. And it may very much differ from what the state is saying excused. If you think that it's important for you to take your child to whatever it may be, it counts as an absence, excused or unexcused for the chronic absenteeism. No matter which side it falls on, excused, unexcused, the real consequence is whether they can make up the work or not. So if it's excused, they can make the work up under the window of what the teacher gives them, which is usually pretty reasonable.
so
If it's unexcused, they would not have the opportunity to make up the missed assignment.
Okay, so that was the next thing I was going to ask about. So situations like a family vacation or something that can't be scheduled around, I don't know, a wedding out of town or something, can't be scheduled around break, okay? So student goes in a week prior and goes, hey, for this week, I'm telling you right now, teach, I'm not gonna be in school. My parents are taking me away for 5 days. I don't wanna miss any work, okay? I wanna be able to keep doing my work as I'm doing. Could you provide us with work? I thought it was up to the teacher to whether they wish to provide that student with work or not. But I've been told by multiple people that the teachers are saying that they're not allowed to provide work.
They're given direct.
Yeah. I mean, it does kind of circle back to the policy. So if, the way we have been implementing this policy, if you have unexcused absences, you're not entitled to make up the work.
So if I'm a parent and I work weekends, right? And I want to take my kids to visit colleges, and I a week before I tell my AP student, hey, go to your teachers and let them know next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday you're going on college visits with mom and dad.
That's excused.
Excused.
Excuse them.
There's a list of
College
what's
visits are
excused.
excused.
Okay, so college visits excused. How about if they say they have to go to Aunt Millie's funeral?
Yep, bereavement's excused.
Okay. How about if they are just going on vacation for their parents' 50th wedding anniversary or something?
No.
Not excused.
And so they don't get work, even though they
Well,
diligently
there's
went to
two
the
parts
teacher?
to that. There's two parts to that. The teacher can certainly give them work, but any
Oh, they
assign,
can.
they could give them work. That doesn't mean to keep up with the assignments. That doesn't mean the assignments that you do is, you're not going to necessarily be given a test, et cetera. Hey, we're working on this. Look online. This is the assignment that we're doing. You could the teachers can certainly give them work to keep up.
Okay.
But if there was a test or an exam or assessment that day, because it's unexcused, it's unexcused, and the work will not be made up for that assignment.
I understand
If
that.
that
So-
makes sense.
Okay, so
Right.
so if let's say they told the teacher the week before they're going to be out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Wednesday is going to be a quarterly, and they have no way of getting there. They can't do it. Are they going to be allowed to take that quarterly on Thursday?
No.
I mean, we'd have to.
No?
It'd have to be like a valid reason. So if they were, so a lot of the reasons are things like illness or death in the family, impassable roads, religious observations, quarantine.
Impassable roads? That's so highly subjective. Are we really going to turn around and say,
Means if there's 25 feet of
That,
snow.
hold on a second, that literally comes from the state, just so you know.
That comes from the
So
state.
that's,
But, no, but
well, what happens when the government shuts down? They all get stuck in airports.
here's the challenge.
This is ridiculous.
No, but here's the big part of the.
Completely ridiculous.
well, this is the state. We have to work with what the state's giving us.
Yeah,
I understand that, but to a certain extent, if you have
So
the
you can't just say, I'm gonna go on vacation and miss tests and expect that you can just make them up when you come back every time.
And here's part of the other thing.
That would be, yeah, it's too disruptive to the classroom
But you could
cadence.
have a kid who's absent on Wednesday with the measles, doesn't come back until the following Wednesday, but the kid who comes back on Thursday because mom and dad decided to take him somewhere doesn't get to make up that test?
Yes, that's what we're saying.
That's,
What if it was a
that's
religious retreat?
ridiculous. I won't
We're
even
on
vote for this
vacations.
policy.
Religious retreats are on the
Religious
list.
retreat.
So wait, is a wedding a religious retreat?
Yes.
Well, it depends how you call it in. Here's part of the problem.
This is like COVID all over again. We're
Say
just
they're
bending
sick.
the rules.
We're running into.
Just say
Go to
this sick.
school.
Why? I like that.
Go to school.
We're running into situations.
Run aground.
Yeah.
The ship is no longer sailing.
Yeah,
We're running into
definitely crashed.
situations
Just
where we have people who are absent 5, 10, 15
Everywhere.
days.
We're not the
No
only
one has ever called. No one has ever furnished a note. No one has made any attempt to tell us anything. And then in December or January, after 15 absences, when they get their third letter, they're saying, well, they were sick on September 4th. They were at the doctor on September 8th. They were sick on October 10th. They were sick on October 11th.
Follow through.
And now I need all these tests
We're
back, and I need my
comparing
kids to
apples
make
to
up all the
oranges.
work.
I'm talking about a situation where a student comes to the teacher, tells them, I knowingly know I'm not going to be here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. My parents are taking me out somewhere or taking me on a trip or whatever it may be. So the bottom line is they need to attend a church service at some point on the trip and call it a religious retreat.
So
Like, I don't understand it. Like, if they're being,
it's
if they're being
very
upfront
simple
with it
that
and
they,
trying to, like, even in colleges, they're gonna have the chance to do that. Like, I don't know.
Not necessarily.
no, they're not.
Not necessarily in college are they going to be allowed.
Most of these colleges are asynchronous, whatever.
Well, what I
You
want
guys
to
know
chat
it all.
about is
What do I
that,
know?
you know, you're bringing up that things are arbitrary and capricious. We're not making them arbitrary, not the administrators, not the board. This is what, we have to work with what the state is giving us. You're required as a district for the Board of Education to have a policy on attendance.
And quite frankly, if you have a policy that has exceptions for your scenario, but not for that scenario, there is no way to manage that. There's no way to say, you allowed it for this one and not for that one. You have to have certain guide rails to follow if you're going to have a sound policy.
As long as
And
you
the
know what a
guide rails are, if it's excused, you can make it up. If it's unexcused, you can't make it up. So if your child has a test and you want to take them out of school to go pumpkin picking, you have to say, do you have a test that day? Okay, well then we have to go the next day because you can't miss the test. Like, you're going to have to make those decisions as a parent.
Right, but if your child's throwing up in the morning,
Then he's sick.
then you can go
But
pumpkin
that's an
picking.
excused absence.
Go over to water drinkers.
You know, it's
They
very
just have to
simple in
call
my
us.
mind. It is what it
Go to
is.
water drink.
These
Hey,
are
Bruno's
the
got a
guide
nice
rails.
spread now, so-
But
And
it's
one of
not-
the, and hold
it's
on
not-
one second, if we
it's
could
not-
go back to the goals that we were talking about before, one of the important things we have to do as a district, as the leaders of a district, is do, you know, it's not so much debating the excused and unexcused. I'm not pushing that away. But you saw what the buildings are trying to do. If the students don't have a seat in the desk or in the chair at the table, they're not being educated. Our goal here as a school district is to educate the students and do everything possible to make sure the students are here. And listen, I'll use an example, not to go off on a tangent, but I used to take my daughter to field hockey tournaments, and the place that they used to go to in Pennsylvania, there's my New York accent, there was a travel team where the girls traveled from different parts of the state. They went to school Monday through Thursday at the normal school, and Thursday night, they were out, drove across Pennsylvania to this school, and they missed every Friday. Like, that was what their culture was in Pennsylvania. They're a hotbed for field hockey. That, I don't know what their policies are there. But here in New York, you say, we can come up with any rationale, like, hey, my kid's gonna get a field hockey scholarship. Forget it, I don't care if they're out every Friday. I'm just using that as one example. But is that fair to the class? Is that fair to the kid that they're not there? Or what are they missing that day? Like, our job is to say, it's very important for your child to be here on Friday because there's all kinds of things that are happening from 8 o'clock in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon, and we need you to be here, and it's important for your child to be here. That's just one example. Each person individually can have a different reason and justify why it's important for their child not to be in school. It's our job to follow the state rule, which is we need to have a policy and do everything we can to encourage the kids to be here 180 days if they can, if they're not sick.
I'm not.
And I'm not saying
Don't-
anyone's
don't-
against that, but that's what, I
don't
think
think-
that's what our focus
Yeah,
really
I,
gotta get to.
and don't think that I'm disagreeing with that. I agree with all that. All I'm saying is, if a student is conscientious enough to know that he's gonna miss or she's gonna miss 3 days, and is possibly for an unexcused reason, I don't understand why we couldn't supply that student with the work they're gonna miss. I'm not saying that they're gonna be able to take a test while they're on the road, but they should at least get the homeworks and the assignments and the material so they could study it before they leave or after they leave, so they don't fall, there's no gap.
No, I agree.
can do
I
that.
agree with you with
They
that. And I
can do
said
that,
before
but they
I was-
can't come
I was
back
told
and
that
make
they
up
will-
work.
I was told that they will not be given the work before they leave.
Well, that's just silly, because even as a classroom
That's what I'm
teacher,
saying.
I wouldn't want I would love that a kid came up and told me that and said, here, while you're away, try to find some time to keep up, because Monday, this is where we're going to be.
Right.
And
That would
any-
be great if a kid did that.
So
And I give
there's,
them everything I possibly could that I had prepared at that moment.
So is
So
that
that-
at teacher discretion, or is that,
At the teacher's discretion.
A teacher may say, I don't have Friday's assignment ready yet. I'm working on it on
I can
Thursday.
email it
and
to
you
you.
leave
Or
it.
it
or
could
could
be-
they
Yeah, I can
say,
email it.
What
or
if
could
it's a
they say no?
hands-on assignment?
Could
Maybe
they-
they can't provide
I'm
it.
telling you right now, I'm hoping that the teacher gives them the assignments and the work. I think most of our teachers are.
but,
What you're bringing about as a rarity that's something, it may not be, but that's something we could let the building principal be aware of.
I got a question.
hold on one second, Jeff, let me just finish this. What I was told was that kids are asking teachers for work, and they're gonna be out, and let it be a vacation for 3 days, and they're being told, we're not giving it to you.
I would encourage those students and/or their parents to call the building principal.
Okay, that's perfect. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. San Marco.
Now, hearing the debate going on about the teacher providing the work or saying, no, we're not going to provide the work, isn't there something in the teacher's contract that states that they have to?
No.
There's nothing specific
The
on
book
that, but I
doesn't
just
say
think our job is to instruct, just like we want
That's
the
my
students
point.
here, our goal is to educate the students.
But it's
So
not-
if they're telling you, I'm agreeing with Mr. Goldhaber, we should try to give them as much work as we have available.
But it's not on the teachers. This isn't like we're saying the teachers aren't doing it.
No, I'm
They're
not
saying that they're not doing it because the policy doesn't allow them to.
Policy doesn't say anything
I
about
don't
that.
think it, right, I don't, this policy
But
doesn't say that.
I believe that there is some sort of issue with the excused versus unexcused absence and that work getting disseminated
I hear what-
to kids who are saying, look, I'm sorry, I'm going to Aruba for 4
No, I
days for
understand
my
what you're saying
Sweet
to me.
16.
I think that
Okay.
those.
Tell me what we're
Those
doing.
students should talk to the principal or
Okay.
the parents should call the principal.
But we're not boxing that out in the policy.
No.
Now, okay, if there's a quarterly and you know you're going to be in, I don't know, you're going to a nice place like Oregon for 4 or 5 days in the woods, okay? And you decide that that's where, mom and dad are taking you. So you go to Oregon, you're in the woods for 4 days and you miss the quarterly.
It's like almost 9 o'clock.
unexcused.
Do we have to keep back beating this dead horse?
Well, if you want, we could just not talk about the policy
No,
because
we
you guys
just
don't
talked
feel
about
like
it for
we
20
need to.
minutes. Like, what
No
do you want to
problem.
do, I guess?
How do you
What's
wanna
the end
change it?
game?
What is your change?
I wasn't trying to change anything. I was just trying to understand that are there guide rails or stops
There
in the
are
policy from
guardrails.
allowing students to access educational material when they know they're not going to be here?
It doesn't
If we
speak
don't
to
think
that.
that's important, we can
It
move
doesn't
forward.
speak to that.
Don't be smart, okay? That's not right for you to say that, okay?
Well-
Because you're trying to make us all look stupid, and I don't like it.
I'm not trying to make anyone
Yes,
look
you are.
stupid. I was just told to shut up. I was just being yelled at.
By whom? The teachers, the kids, the parents, who?
No, my fellow board members.
Come on, Jeff.
Okay, well, come on.
You're beating a dead horse here. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. They go to the teacher. If the teacher says no, go to the principal. And it's up to the principal to say no, okay? It's so simple. You're not going to have it in writing in there, if that's what you want.
But we were told that.
Well, you got a letter. That's what you got, a letter from somebody complaining.
No, it's not. Has nothing
Yes,
to
it
do-
was.
Has nothing to do with the letter. The letter did
Okay.
not address the work. We were told that students, knowing that they were going away and it was going to be unexcused, right, for a vacation, wanted to access the material. And our policy stopped them from that. And what
That's not
Tina is,
true.
okay, what Tina is saying is it doesn't. It would stop them from taking assignments that they're missing or taking assessments that they're missing while they're gone unexcused.
Right, so it's not going to
Okay.
give you options on how to make up work when
Right.
you have an unexcused absence, like I'm going to Oregon to the woods.
Okay.
Because we don't want them going to Oregon to the woods, so we're not giving them a recourse for that.
Right.
It says, where possible, students with excused absences will be given opportunity to make up tests or other missing work or to turn in late assignments for inclusion in their final grade. Makeup opportunities must be completed by the date specified by the student's teacher for the class in question,
For excused
For excused.
absences.
for excused absences.
So something you knowingly know is unexcused, they won't.
Don't ask, because it's unexcused, you shouldn't be asking, I guess.
That's the,
I don't.
That's kind of what his argument was.
I mean,
I'm
You
kind
guys
of
are-
it's
seeing what
like
he's getting
saying,
at
I
now.
don't know,
Okay.
I can't think of a good example, but it's like your kid coming to you and saying, I don't know.
So pretty much you.
Don't go rob a bank because I'm not going to bail you out. I mean, it's not an option because we're not supposed to be entertaining unexcused absences because they're not valid absences.
I understand what you're saying, but there are reasons that come up in life that parents will take their kids out of school.
I understand.
And if their
I
kids don't
understand.
want to
And-
fall behind, which sometimes kids are actually more anxious and worried about falling behind than the parents
Or maybe the
are.
parents should consider their kids' feelings and not pull them out of school.
Okay,
Well,
I
sometimes
understand.
that's not the way it
Sometimes that's
goes.
not feasible, but
And sometimes there's a consequence for that, meaning you can't
Well-
make up a test. I mean, this is life. If you decide I'm not going to go to work for 3 days because I want to go to Oregon in the woods, and your boss says that's not a good reason to take off, I need you here, you're going to get fired. I mean, this is life.
I don't agree with that.
Well,
So now we're just telling the parents or the kids, just lie.
no,
You
no.
have to lie.
I'm not telling you to
And
lie.
say
You're
you're going on
you're
a-
telling them
Say
to lie.
say you're going on a retreat, Catholic retreat, and you're covered. What else you gonna say?
How about
I
you
ended
just
this
come to
conversation
school
about
when you're
20 minutes
supposed
ago
Well,
with
to?
that statement.
I don't have a teacher schedule, so I can't take off when school is out. So I have to go on a vacation when school is on. I mean,
Okay,
we're like really like slamming the dead horse here. I mean,
Exactly.
we really are.
we are. So I agree with Jeff. This
You
is.
agree with Jeff what? That kids should just be able to come and go as they want?
No, we're
I
not
never
we should
saying
said
put
that.
in the
We are not
policy-
saying
We
that.
should put in the policy that they can just make up work
We're
6
not
months
say-
later?
I'm not saying that.
I don't know what you're
What are
saying.
you saying?
We're not saying that kids should come and go as they please. We want kids in school. We fought for kids to go back to school and get away
Yes, we
from
did.
virtual learning. What we're saying is, if a family decides to go on a vacation, that would be unexcused, okay?
Yes.
Instead of having our students, because trust is very important, right? Change the narrative of where they're going or anything else, or have the family do that. Be open and honest, tell the teacher you're going somewhere, and where does that land with our policy? So if that means that they can't make up a test, or if they miss an assignment, not miss an assignment, they can't make up a test, an assessment during that time, okay, that might sway their decision to go, okay?
Right?
But we should at least provide them with the material that they're gonna miss, so that when they come back, they don't fall behind.
So that, according to the policy, is something between the student, teacher for the class in question.
Right.
It is not something dictated by the policy.
It's not dictated by the policy. That's it. That's it. And if there is a test during that time, and it's an excused absence, then it would be allowed to be made up.
Within the time period specified by the teacher. And like for the high school, a lot of the syllabi will say, you have to make it up upon return or within 3 days of return or a week of return or whatever the teacher's policy is. And the student has to follow the teacher's policy. And yes, it's a great idea if you know you're going to be out to talk to your teacher and see if you can make up miss work or keep up with something, but also understand that you may be missing something and you may not be able to make it up, so you have to make a decision. And that's also something that happens in life. It's fine if you miss it, as long as you're willing to miss it. You know what I mean?
No, I
Like,
understand what you're saying.
those are life lessons with kids. Sometimes you have to, especially if the child's an older child and they want to go do something that may not be considered excused, you have to say to your child, are you willing to accept the consequence of missing school this day and missing this test? Because you're not going to be able to make it up because this isn't excused, and it's a learning lesson. And maybe the kids should go wherever they're going. Maybe it's something important for their future, even though it's unexcused at the moment. Like juniors can't do college visits until the spring of the junior year. But maybe they're trying to get in someplace early and they want to go in the fall and they're going to miss something. They may decide it's important enough to miss something, even if it means it's unexcused. And that's okay. But the policy is the policy. We can't write a policy that accounts for every random scenario that may happen in
And with
someone's
attendance,
life.
that's why we have 504s, because we have kids with medical exemptions where
Right.
it doesn't matter. But making sure that we're really clear for parents to understand what excused and unexcused are and what the consequences for those two, I think is super important for the community.
Agreed.
So they know how to navigate around what they're doing.
Absolutely agree, 100%.
Can we make, not make, but can, Mr. Fabian, is there any way, if it's an unexcused absent, can we make the teacher, so to speak, give the kids what they're gonna miss, or because it's unexcused, that, oh, you're not getting it? You know what I'm saying?
Can't make them, but they're not, they can't say the policy
That hasn't
won't
been our
allow them
practice.
to.
Right,
That hasn't been our practice to
give them the work.
We could give them some work to stay abreast of what's coming up.
They
but
could stay-
We're not gonna let them
Yeah.
work. That's
So can we get that
part of the
communication down
deterrent.
to them?
They have it.
But it seems like they don't, or, it seems like there's some,
Or they're ignoring it.
is it
If
possible to
there's
get that
one
communication out there?
specific person who's
Send it out
saying
again.
this, it would
I have no
be,
idea,
the
yeah.
easiest thing would be for the
That person.
parent to call this principal and let them know about
And
this
here,
one
just
situation.
another fun fact that to date, Mr. Fabian, correct me if I'm wrong, over 100 attendance letters have gone out with students that were at risk because they are either entering or already in chronic absenteeism, and particularly in the high school, on a class-by-class basis, if they have too many absences, they won't get credit for that class. And one person has complained out of 100, and So I think most people understand the rules, and I think most people understand the policy. And I think we're spending a lot of time spinning our wheels over an isolated incident.
It's not, let me be clear,
We're getting yelled at. And
the letter that we received is not the main driving factor for the questions that I ask. 100% not. It's not just because we received one letter from the community. The unexcused, the excused absence thing has always been, especially, well, for me, it's always been something that I never really understood. The fact of not getting work or not being able to make something up has been something that since 2020 has been a little bit dicey for me. I know I didn't go to the policy meeting, but this is our time as a board to talk about it. So I asked these questions here. And then like I have another question here with the 3 latenesses and getting detention. Is that in our policy? Because that is something that this
That
year.
is a high school procedural thing.
That's a
Not
procedure.
a policy thing.
Okay. So that's not something we don't have any control over that. You're late 3 times, you get detention.
Yeah,
That's something at the junior.
It's referenced in the policy in that unexcused absence, tardies, or early departures may result in disciplinary action consistent with the code of conduct.
Okay, so that's basically what we say. We say if you have to leave early, or if you're, okay.
And again, it's unexcused, not excused. So it's people that show up chronically late because
Go to a doctor.
they had to
No, no,
stop
no.
for their
That's another
Starbucks.
Yeah, you come from
I
a doctor's
totally-
appointment for 2 periods, you're excused. That
Yeah,
doesn't count.
but I'm talking about period-to-period lateness. Like being able to navigate through the hallway and show up at your class on time.
Yeah, I would tell you probably that didn't start in 2020 with the policy.
No.
That's been in this school for a long time.
It just seems like
And
it's been more prevalent this year.
It's probably in most schools.
I
Not
understand.
being late and having a consequence.
I understand.
Probably most are around 3.
No, but I'm not
They would've
talking
do a
about an excused lateness where your parent could say, hey, this one had to go for blood work in the morning, so they were late, or something else. I'm talking about, they've been in school, they were trying to get from 3rd period to 4th period, and they're late. It happens 3 times, and, 1 3rd to 4th, 5th to 7th, 6th to 7th period, whatever it is,
Right.
and then they get detention for being late, because they're being marked as late.
I've heard complaints on this one.
Mr. Gohammer,
Distance
you're
between
talking about
classrooms is too great.
navigating the building,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
almost impossible to get from
Yes.
point A
I know.
to point B in time.
Yeah, but like I said, Ms. Fabian just said, the policy just says there may be consequences for unexcused latenesses or absences, but it doesn't speak to that specifically. That's more of a building level procedural item.
Okay.
Next.
So this is going back to first reading, or?
So this is second
This is the
reading.
second reading,
We
so
have,
it's up to
nobody
you.
requested any changes, so.
So next time, we will be,
We would adopt it today.
we're adopting it now.
Adopted tonight.
We adopt it tonight. Or we go back to first reading.
But without material changes, why would we do that? Unless somebody
Unless
wants to
someone actually
materially
changes.
change something.
The other readings are easy.
Yeah. You want to move forward to the next one?
Yes.
All right, purchasing policy. That was just a simple revision, couple of updates. No real change to the language. Same with the purchasing regulations. Same with the purchasing procedures, the purchasing procedure regulations, and same with the purchasing authority and the extreme heat. They were all very, very minimal changes from anything in the past. It was more formatting and just kind of cleaning up a couple of things just for clarity, naming a couple of positions that may have been just updated since the past, but there was really no major changes at all to any of those policies. It was really just more of an update. We could talk about any specific if you'd like, but again, they've been around for a while. They just needed an annual update, and we just kind of ran through those other ones. And the extreme heat was the same thing. It was just a minor change, mainly to the formatting of it and a couple different wordings of sentences, but no changes to the nuts and bolts of it.
Okay. So that's all the policies we have on here tonight. So I think we'd be making a motion to accept all of them, right? Because they're all second readings.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Does anyone want to pull or change any of the policies we spoke about? We could always revisit or ask the policy committee to pull a policy if we think that something does need to be changed,
Absolutely.
you know, so that always happens. Obviously, I had most of my questions with the excused and unexcused absences here. And honestly, as long as the policy is sound, which I do believe it's sound, I think a good understanding of that to get out to the student body and the parents, I think it's important. Even though we could say, it's here, it's here, it's here, there's obviously a disconnect. Because the
So
proof is in the pudding.
Mr. Simel, can we send a reminder? Like, sometimes on Parent Square, we send reminders on procedures. Maybe we can just send out a reminder. Remind everybody as we get close to the
But
holidays.
we could put things out
Attendance
certainly like that.
policy is blah, blah,
Like,
blah.
right, I mean, with all the administrators tomorrow, we can put some ideas together with regard to that. Listen, not to beat this down one more time, the problem you have with the regard to the excused and unexcused absences is you could put 3 people and in a spot around this circle right here. What one person thinks should be excused, the other person will not, et cetera, and go round and round and round. That's the most challenging part of this whole thing.
Yep.
What you're specifically talking about, Mr. Goldhammer, about students getting work, if it's excused or unexcused, they should all be able to have access to the material, to the work. That should be the goal of all of us, to try and educate the students whether they are or not. The unexcused, though, the ramification is the assignments that are due. If it's unexcused, that work won't count. So, but you should have the assignment so you know where the class is and keep pace and keep up. All right.
I'd just like to say one other thing. Our next policy meeting is December 3rd at 2:30. We do have several new policies that we're going to be looking at this month for the December 10th meeting for first reading. So we'll be meeting on the 3rd, 2:30 in the boardroom. If anyone's watching online and they'd like to attend.
And just to clarify, they're not new policies, they're a new list of policies that we're reviewing.
Yeah.
So we have a schedule out for the next, I think,
through
three
January.
months, where we've grouped policies together that are similar in subject matter. And we're just reviewing them. First we're taking the required policies and we're reviewing them for continuity, consistency, make sure they're updated with the latest rules or whatever. So we have a plan that we'll be executing for the next couple of months to review those.
Okay, so before we close out the policy section, I'm going to make a motion to accept all these policies.
Second.
Okay? But there's no motion written here, so I'm just going to kind of go for it. Are you okay with that, Ms. Reyes? Okay. I'd like to make a motion, or can I have a motion to accept policy number 1120, policy number 5100, policy number 6700, policy number 6700R, policy number 6740, policy number 6740R, policy number 6710, and policy number 8113.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we approved 8 policies for this evening. Okay, new and open items. The first new or open items we have is the Suffolk County BOE voting machine info. This is information that we asked out of our last meeting, and Mr. Laube is here to give us an update.
Thank you, Mr. Goldhammer. So I'll take you through some research I put together since our last meeting. So on October 7th, 2025, the Suffolk County Board of Elections notified all district clerks of school districts, fire districts, library districts, and villages that it will no longer provide voting machines for local elections and budget votes. The Board of Elections has purchased new voting machines and will not be sharing the new machines with these districts. Am I clicking or you're clicking? There we go. And Board of Elections has offered 3 options for districts as they transition away from using voting machines.
This is great.
So option 1, the Board of Elections is offering their old machines at no cost, but each district would have to purchase an annual maintenance contract with the vendor who sells the machines. Option 2, the district can purchase new machines that would also include an annual maintenance contract with the vendor who sells the machines. Option 3, the district can use paper ballots for the budget vote and board member election. I'll put together some cost options for us on these 3 options. So with the free machines and to include our maintenance contract, we got one quote for $12,481. That would be the maintenance contract with the current machines that the Board of Education is offering.
It's 2 machines?
That would be 2 free machines from the Board of Elections with the vendor that manages those machines. And that would be the cost.
Did you say last time that you would have to purchase a scanner to go with that or something?
With those 2 machines that they've given us, that's with that.
It includes that?
Yes. Or we could purchase 2 machines from a company brand new out of the box with a maintenance contract, and between the 2 vendors, the prices vary between just $25,500 up to just over $34,000. That would of course come with a maintenance contract that would go on annually for anywhere between $8,000 and $11,000. And the other choice is utilize paper ballots, as we've done in the past, and that would actually reduce our cost by just over $3,100. So I'll take you through that real quick, how it actually saves money. We wouldn't have to purchase paper ballots anymore because we're not buying the machines. They have special paper ballots that come with those machines. That would save us just over $2,000. We'd have a reduction in Board of Election Services, support services for the day, which is just under $1,000. There'd be no contract for moving the voting machines. We actually pay a company to bring the machines from Yaphank out to us every year, $269. And we'd have to add probably not that much in staff, but a couple hours of staff or several people to help count the ballots, probably add about $200 to our cost, which gives us a net decrease of $33,146 on our budget if we went with paper ballots. 3,000. What did I say? 300? Sorry.
If we are going to have the machines ourselves, are we still paying somebody to move them?
No, we would keep them. If they were here, we'd keep them here. So things to consider. The Board of Elections could offer their new machines at some time in the future, which would negate ESM's need for its own machines. In other words, they're not saying now, but next year after, or even maybe later this year, their tune could change. And a future year, they could change their mind and let us use their machines. We could share machines and contract costs with other fire districts, library districts, or villages. I did reach out to our 2 local fire districts. I have not heard back yet. I reached out to the village of West Hampton Beach. They have a similar sized election as we do in terms of people who come out to vote. They're going paper ballots. I spoke to the mayor there just last week, and they see about 600 to 800 votes, which is similar to us. So they're going paper ballots. And many school districts east of us, West Hampton, a couple of districts a little smaller than us are going paper ballots as well. If we were to utilize paper ballots in 2026, we could later choose to purchase voting machines. If it didn't go well, we didn't feel it was smooth for us, we could choose to go with voting machines sometime in the future and purchase them ourselves.
Quick question. If I remember correctly from last meeting, we had to get on a waiting list for the free machines, correct?
We are on a waiting list for the free machines. I anticipate being able to get free machines.
Okay. If we do not decide to go that route and wait till the future, that's not an option no more, correct?
If we decide to go a different route, we take the free machines?
The last bullet.
When would the free machines be available?
They're available now. We're on the list. I anticipate getting them. They have more machines than I think the demand is for them right now. A source of mine within the Board of Elections said there's a reason they're giving them away free and they're getting new ones. So I don't know about the quality of the machine for the free machines. I'm worried about that.
So hypothetically, we get these free machines. Upon receipt, we can decide if we're going to move forward with the maintenance contract at that point?
Sure. If they came, I think they're.
I don't want to commit to this at a point, and now we're stuck spending taxpayers' money to keep these things going, and they're not worth the bubble gum stuck to the bottom of them.
Especially when you only have to count 800 ballots.
Right.
Correct. That's why I would recommend.
COVID, we send things out to everybody.
6,000. The word gives me anxiety. 6,000.
But,
6,000.
Mr. Sammarco, are you suggesting that if our number is called and we could get the 2 machines, we get them, hold them, and that still gives us a chance to
Yes.
make the
Yes,
decision on which
can
way
we
we
hold
go?
on to them and decide if we're
Yeah.
going to?
Well, at some
or
point-
once we accept the 2 free machines, we have to go to contract. Is there
No.
stipulations on this that
No,
we're?
if we take the 2 machines,
And hold them.
we can put them in a closet here and
How come
not
IT
use them.
Our IT people can't work on them?
Our IT
Technology?
people?
Our technology people, would they be able to figure this out?
it's a particular piece of machinery that we didn't develop. It's not, I wouldn't call it like a Chromebook. It's not something we're familiar with using. It's particular technology that comes with a maintenance contract for them to work on it.
Do we get the dividers?
I've ordered those as
We
well.
want that more than anything.
We have
The
those.
privacy booths. We've ordered 5 privacy booths.
We have those.
That's important.
Yep,
We have them for test takers, I think, anyway,
Yes.
we have them.
in the classroom.
So
We have them for COVID, millions of
I was
them.
gonna say, you got the walls
seat
of COVID,
there.
right?
in discussion with our district clerk and including our previous district clerk who did this for a little over 30 years. She had a lot of experience with paper ballot collecting. Our recommendation is to go with paper ballots.
Have we invited her back for the paper ballot counting?
I did actually.
Oh, right.
So,
And her
is-
answer
Remember
was?
how
I got a
long
lot
it
of
took
silence on the
to
phone,
Just count
and she said she'd be in her garden.
mail-ins.
Had a girl.
So I'm not talking
I
code,
just
I'm talking
want-
about this last vote, when we just had to count a
Oh,
few.
great one.
I just
It's
want to
always like that, it takes too long.
see
I'm not a
if,
fan of the paper.
I just want to see if the board wants to
$12,000.
write a letter to our county executive for him to possibly talk to the Board of Elections and say, you know, as has been done forever, can we use, why are we not using the election, machines, the voting machines like we had in the past?
Who came up with this decision?
Yeah, who came up with this idea?
And are they allowed to make this decision?
On their own, arbitrarily? I don't know. So does
They're not
anyone want to
self-funded.
chat about that at all?
Taxpayer money.
Contacting the,
Contact him for everything, he's our friend.
okay.
Yeah, but the political party leaders are the ones who calls the shots at the Board of Elections. Republican Party leaders and Democratic Party leaders and the Conservative Party leaders call the shots. Ed Romaine doesn't call the shots. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Tim, is there
What
anything?
do I know?
if-
I'm just a guy from,
If,
I think I think Mr. Farrar's right. They have a lot of weight in that
Oh, we
realm.
might have a
Yeah.
lot of weight, but the county is the one that pays for it, not them.
How does the county get their money again? Somebody, please refresh my memory.
Taxes.
Sales tax revenue.
is there,
Right,
if we
and who
use,
pays those taxes?
We do.
So what right do they have to deny us anything if we're paying for it?
Yeah.
I agree with you. That's why I said.
So
let's
get
not-
any of your elected friends to write the letters and find out what the hell's going on.
Could you get your friends to do it?
I can, but my friends are a lot different than yours.
I'll put something together and I'll share it with everybody and we could go from there.
so moving forward with, if we do paper ballots, is there something, some sort of quality assurance that it was counted right? Like after we counted, not saying that we can't, do we have to hold on to them and then give them to someone else to certify? Like, when someone wins a lotto, they say, oh, this is certified by blah, 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 blah.
Only if
Yeah,
there's
we
something
would
to
hold
challenge.
on to them and if someone challenged,
we-
they would, go ahead.
Then we've discussed with our former district clerk, Mrs. Murray, about a design system where we'd have checks and balances at the night. You'd have 2 teams of 3 that are counting, and Ms. Reyes would be over.
Because we don't even have anyone from the Board of Elections here anymore, right? They took those,
No,
they took
they-
them away too.
Yeah, they were just here as support for us. They didn't actually make any decisions about.
one night a year. I know you're saying it's gonna take a long time to count them. It's one night a year.
Oh, no,
No, not you, Mr. Cole. I'm just saying, in general, it's one night a year. Guys, it's not once a month, it's not once a week, it's one night a year that we're gonna have to
No,
count.
I was more, Mr. Farrar, I was more concerned with people turning around and go, no, it's bullshit. It was, it wasn't counted right. The people at the school counted it and they hide everything and blah, blah. Because when you had the Board of Ed, when you had the Board of Elections people here and you had machines, it was like, well, it can't be wrong. But when Tim is counting them,
No,
Sorry,
I'm not
Tim.
allowed. I'm not allowed.
Tim's not
actually.
counting, but when we have our own people counting them, I could just, oh yeah, the budget passed, yeah, the school district counted
Yeah,
the.
but correct me if
That's
I'm
why
wrong,
it passed.
Mr. Labby. We can have Board of Election people here, we just have to pay them, right?
There used to be one here to watch the
They're
machines.
counting them.
That's part of the services we used to get from them.
Okay.
They will be on call for us that
That's
night.
true.
Okay, all right.
All right.
You've got people swearing that they do it right.
No, of course. I just want to make sure that there's a secondary level, so when it's challenged, we go, okay, here, take this and you count,
But somebody has to challenge it that night. You can't challenge it 3 weeks later. I only know because I lost an election and I was given the opportunity to challenge it and I didn't.
It has to be within a certain margin too. 7 votes.
There's laws, there's rules.
There's rules. I can reach out to our attorney about that, but the official counter of the night is our sworn district clerk.
Again, what are the firehouses doing? This doesn't just affects us, this affects everybody. For fire commissioners, I don't know.
Okay, so I think that's the only, are we all completed with voting machines?
We
I don't
need
even
a
know if
decision.
we're gonna take
That's
this
just
off.
informational, or do we need a decision right now?
That's what,
Well, my recommendation is to move forward with paper ballots at this point.
and if we get machines, get 2 or 3 free ones and leave them in the corner.
Yeah, we'll vet them. Yeah.
Sell them on eBay.
Well, we're leading toward, well, I'm sorry. If we, so I'll craft a letter and share it with all of you. We're on the list for the machines. We'll get the machines if we have them. And then one of the things, if we're going towards the paper ballot, so we kind of need to know, we don't need to know it immediately. We'll need to make a decision on that as a board. So we could do it tonight, we could do it another night, but one of the things we would do also is get that information out to the community. We have time for that, but we would try multiple ways so they don't walk in the door and all night long, where are the machines, why are we doing it this way, but we'll get it out multiple ways so that they're aware that the Board of Elections is not sharing the machines, and therefore we're using paper ballots.
Okay,
Okay? So, I don't know, do you want to decide the paper ballots tonight, or do you want to wait till the machines come in and kind of hold a little bit?
we'll hold.
I would say
fine.
we hold.
That's fine.
Yep. Okay, thank you, Mr. Lauby.
You're welcome.
One thing to add on, this is new and open items, just for board discussion and maybe to ask Dr. Christie in a subsequent meeting to just go over, would be the honors level classes. Okay, I think there was some questions about offering honors level classes versus accelerating and then the weighting of honors classes and kind of the theory around that. I know it's definitely been spoken about in the past, but if we could bring that back up and look at why we accelerate versus having honors at the next board meeting or possibly one thereafter. Or if you guys want to talk about it now, we're fine with that.
Yeah, we'll have something for you, Mr. Goldhammer, and the Board of Education, December 10th.
That's fine. Does the board have any further questions on that topic?
The board received a letter from a woman that asked about the scope after school policy. I know that we've banged this over and over again. You know, but to have the kids watched after school on the Eastport side, it was basically them because it's too far to go. Honestly, I think we have the numbers, how much it costs. I mean, we just had this done maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Is it possible to just put that in a letter and send it out and to see if people are interested in it, that we could do it?
So we can get the most updated cost.
Cost of
We
it?
could redo it again.
Yeah,
We
I
could
mean,
try it
it's
again.
just,
It's
I think
Scope
for the
that
community.
actually does the survey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
exactly,
interest.
yeah.
We could do that again.
Ask them to just do it and then send it out to those,
Yep.
to the parents and see if there is enough. There may be more now than there was then, and
That's true, yep.
if it is, then we could
We could
change it.
check.
And then the other thing I wanted to ask is, what's going on with the cell phone tower? Where's Mr. Lauby?
It's working because we have full bars and full
It
circuits.
is. So Verizon is on, and it's working.
And that's because of Ed Romaine making the
Yep,
call?
to Verizon.
To Verizon.
Verizon to Verizon, yes.
And what happened with the other people that were coming to look at our
Yeah, so in the bullpen, I think he said T-Mobile is
Mhm.
probably the next one, and then AT&T after that.
have they been here to
Yep.
look at it?
Yep.
Okay.
I haven't had service in this building since forever.
And you have
I
Verizon?
I can
Yep.
actually communicate with my business and my children right now.
Yep. Yeah, it just went on this week.
It's fantastic.
Thank you
Fantastic. Where's Tim?
to Romaine.
Okay. Anything else for new and open items for any board member? Want to put anything on there? Okay, I think we're good to go. Let's go over to our acknowledgements. We acknowledge warrants and claims as listed. It's just procedural, nothing to discuss there. Consent agenda. Okay, let's go forward with consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve consent agenda items M1 through 7 in business and operations and N 1 through 2 in personnel.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So we passed our treasurer's report. We passed the EBLAR resolution. An overnight field trip. This field trip services 73 students. There'll probably be an excused absence.
Excuse on, excuse?
I have to put that in there. Yeah, maybe. For some. Really cool music competition for our wind ensemble, symphonia, and concert choir. The competition's in Cleveland. They're also visiting Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, April 23rd through 26th, jam-packed. And thank you to the music boosters and obviously the parents for putting this together, and the entire performing arts department. We also have put together some contracts for another tour. We also have sensory lighting and sound at Dayton Avenue. We approved Roland Electric. We forced them to take our $2 million job, according to our construction team. Budget transfer, 2 budget transfers, and now we can move on to personnel. Okay, first is a recall of employment, which will be listed in just a minute.
They're working on it.
Okay. Resignations, 3 leaves of absence, 2 appointments, 2 permanent substitutes, per diem substitutes, 2 in our civil service areas, extracurricular activities as always, 2 interscholastic appointments, and 5. Supplemental pay is going to be as listed. We have 5 student teachers and 1 teacher's aide, stipend only. Okay, we'll move over to student services. The Board of Education acknowledges and accepts the decisions already made by our committees of special education, and I will ask Mr. Franquise if he has anything that he would like to report to the board tonight.
Well, I will say that just for the sake of reporting something to the board, I've been doing my observations with first year and second year teachers, and what I've seen in the special education rooms and beyond has been very impressive. So I'm happy with what I've seen so far in our early observation period.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Franquise. All right, let's move on to ESM Pride. I will open it up to the board.
Anyone want to go?
Yeah, let's talk about the pride of the fact that we had a leadership conference
Yes,
here.
that
And
was
we
on
had
my
people
list.
come from all over, many states, and here to see what we're doing right here to have our Leader in Me program. And that's something we should be very proud of.
And that was the Friday right after the last board meeting, correct? No, I'm sorry, the Thursday, the following day.
It was impressive, not only because there were a bunch of people there from the city, right? There were people that had their Chromebooks and it said property of New York City schools, or there was a bunch of teachers from Queens that had like matching subway themed shirts.
Rhode Island.
And then we met some people from Rhode Island and we were like, they said Providence. We were like, Providence, Rhode Island? Yeah. So the fact that people came all this way just to see the program and what we do was very impressive. The keynotes were very impressive.
They went
It was a
into the
good day.
schools. They actually went into the schools to see the kids actually working at what they were doing. It was incredible, incredible.
Very cool stuff.
And it's nice that the board gets invited. Obviously, sometimes not every board member can make it, but it's very nice to have a board presence and be invited into these sort of interactive days. You know, these days, when you really get in there to see, it's not just showing pictures or anything else. You know, Superintendent's Conference Day is really nice like that, and this seems like another thing. And I think another opportunity for the board to really see how everything works, so.
But also for the community
for the
to see
invite.
that we are important enough, that people want to come and see our model.
Absolutely.
Okay, things are going on here that people need to know are great things for kids.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And I will tell you, being at the schools that day, just ferrying my kids around, the outside of the buildings look it was
Beautiful.
super windy, but you know, like especially at South Street with Mr. Jackson's recognition, they had out all of the flags and everything else, and everything just looked absolutely perfect. And you know, when we came around here, even at Eastport, every one of the schools was done really nice to showcase what we have going on. Makes the guests feel special who are coming too. So it's
And the guests had great questions. I mean, when they were in this room and I was they did the South Street presentation, JM did a great job, but so did the teachers to let them know how they implemented it, what was the reason why they went to do certain things in the classroom, and how engaged the children were. And I think that's important that everybody knows that.
It's really awesome. Okay, so our boys volleyball team is heading up to States. Again, second year in a row, undefeated season. They're going up on Friday and coming home Saturday night. So
No, the format changed this year. So before you get into that, we hosted counties here,
yep.
which was another fabulous thing, not just because we are the county champions now,
Right.
which is a source of pride, but the fact that whether we were competing or not, we were hosting this year. We were chosen as a venue because we're a great venue to host these things, just like we're a great venue for this Leadership Day. So it's really just cool that people want to come here and do events here. So that's a source of pride in and of itself. As far as the volleyball team, they changed the format this year. So it's a day of pool play where they have to place, and then it's a day of semifinal final. So they're actually going to be up there. They're leaving Friday morning, and if they go all the way, they'll be there till Sunday night.
So Sunday night.
Yes.
Okay. That's important.
Because
you
it's
watch
so
that on
far, they
Huddle?
leave on Friday because
It's
the
not
games are
Huddle,
on
but
Saturday.
Section 11 has a streaming service
Saturday.
where you can watch.
And to just to back talking about people wanting to come to our school, Section 11 already picked us for a competitive cheer to host counties.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So
It really
we
is,
we
yeah.
have that again.
Yeah,
So.
that is so great.
Yeah. Okay, so
I have a couple of other things.
go ahead,
I
Mr.
don't-
Slayman.
Sure. So our boys cross-country team were county champs again. I'm not going to pretend I know that they are consistently winning the county championship. Shout out to the coaches and the team for doing it again this year. The girls field hockey, county champs, played a fantastic game against Garden City for the Long Island Championship, the first round of the states. And that was a 2-1 game, and we were really in it. And we had a real good shot at winning that game, I thought. And finally, we have a runner on the girls' cross-country team that is brand new to running. Her name was in the paper. She shattered the Suffolk County record for female runners at Sunken Meadow. I'm going to get the numbers wrong. She beat it by like 15 seconds, and it's been in place forever. So it wasn't the record of all time because some upstate runners have come down, but it's the Long Island record. She beat by 15 seconds. And the following weekend, she came in first in the counties there again, and then I think beat her own record, beat it again, went to the states and came in second in the states. And it's the first time that she's run cross-country. So that's Maddie Leheza. I'm not sure if I said her last name right. I apologize, Maddie. But great job representing us up at the state. So it's a lot happening in many different areas.
I'm sure Mr. Hayes will be here with all the athletes.
And
before
one
I wrap up.
last thing, you've all been invited to go see Newsies this weekend. So if you want to go, I think respond to District Clerk, Ms. Reyes, and she'll let you know about a ticket. And that's for our 7th and 8th grade students putting that show on. So that should be exciting.
Okay. Unfortunately, our work is not done here, so I'd like to make a motion to return to executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good night. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.